Kaboom.
Oh, bro.
What's going on in here?
Nothing.
Frivolity at the top of the show. What's going on?
Nothing.
Quiet,
nothing.
Nils.
Our guest is distracting. It's very distracting me. What's up,
Hey,
Joe?
guys. Welcome to another episode of The Oblivion Show. I'm Joe E.T. and this is...
Mr. Dolphin.
How's it going, man?
Really good. It's it's warm. It's kind of
warm as fuck.
summertime.
Yeah.
Things are looking good. But loads of good pies. It's festival season. It's on, bro. It's on.
It's on.
What are you up to?
I've just been dead busy with things and getting ready for the show and other things and getting ready for Harmony this weekend because I've got a load of friends coming over. So, and it's my birthday this weekend as well. So I'm gonna go and have
going
a
to
good
Harmony?
time. Yeah, man. Yeah, gonna go and have a nice time. Should be fun.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's your birthday.
Yeah.
Go shorty.
Exactly. It's June and the weather is
Nice.
here.
And then we've got Jeff Con.
Yep.
Meadow Rave. Can't wait for that.
Exactly. What's
Yeah,
not to like,
all good
eh?
stuff.
June's banging.
Yeah.
Best month. All the best people are born in June, right?
Too many birthdays though. Fuck them.
Right, let's get on with the show. We've taken a long enough time to get online because of reasons like normal. Let's just bring him in. Welcome, Nils.
What is up?
Mindustries.
Crowd goes wild.
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Yeah.
Well,
I'm not
welcome back
complaining.
to the show for your third.
Third, I
you're
think.
the-
Yeah.
I think you're the most guestly guest we've had.
I think other than
Well, you're the
Noel,
hostess.
I think Noel and Frank have been on twice or three times, I think. But yeah, I think
Noel came on as a kind of guest host though one time, didn't he? I'm not sure.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was that.
yeah.
Oh.
I was watching a video of the early Oblivion show from 6 years ago when you came on, Nils, and you were here in the studio. And we had
Yes.
a green screen and stuff, and it was all pixelated with terrible microphones.
Yeah,
Yes,
dude,
I
and we were
remember.
DJing and
that
shit.
was fun.
That was fun. The good old days, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we need
Yeah,
to just
I was
do a
looking
couple
back at-
in-house things again.
Yeah, I was looking back at how long it's been since the first time. 6 years. I'm like, where's my life gone, dude?
It's been 9 years since like the start of the show, because there was originally like
Originally,
there was and then there was a break and then we brought it back and then Tom was co-host and then you came and started co-hosting, right?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Sorry, I got the giggles tonight.
What's wrong with you?
It's, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. No. Sorry, it was the way Nils said 9. 9? It reminded me of something else, and that set me
that's
off.
something we were just talking about. Yeah.
Wow. So Nils, what's going on with you?
Well, pretty. I just had the first solo Mindustries release, which is of course weird.
Yeah.
But seeing it being supported as it has been, and just receiving the feedback on it, it's been great.
Yeah, man, it
It's
is
very,
really, really good.
Thank you. Well, yeah, it's of course it's a weird time right now, because also in the probably the months leading up to the release are the mostly the time where you do a lot of like ping ponging, as we call it, like just bouncing ideas back and forth and like, hey, should we do this? Should we do this? And since Yuri passed away, it's been a weird experience going through that process alone. Being like, hey, I'm the only one deciding on this right now.
I can't even begin to imagine how it's been for you, bro. Really?
It's
Are you still
weird.
bouncing it off other people? You still like kind of Frank and Gareth and whoever, just kind of.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah. You kind of have to, I think.
It's not the same as having your bro by your side, and of course
it's different.
Yeah,
And they're like, even though they're like all those people you just mentioned are really close, they're not as invested and as it's not
their project.
Act. Exactly. It's not their project. It's not their act. So in that way, it's always going to be different, and it's something you can also replace. Like some people who don't really know how things work basically ask you, hey, you're gonna get somebody else in. It's like, nah, I could never.
Wow, no, yeah.
I could never.
Yeah,
you know,
no.
this has been me and him for like 20 years, 21 years, and like and so that there's nothing you can. There's no one you can put there in that place to be like, yeah, that's kind of the same thing. So no, so it has to be
and
just
it's
me.
not even from like an artistic point of view, but they're big shoes to fill from a personality point of view as well. It would just be impossible.
As well. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. He was very present.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah.
Quick shout to the chat before we get going. Hey Jay, hey Drastic, hey Megalodon, hey Marcel Cass, hey RWP, hey Vinny Rupture in the chat, hey Vanilla, how you doing? Danny, Sister Sai, or Cytosine, I always say that wrong. SPF in the chat as well. I think we've got more than one Felix in the chat, which might get confusing. Huds Danny in the chat. Hey, hey Floris, I'm sorry to hear about your pet. Sorry to hear that, bro. I'll look forward to seeing you at the weekend, hopefully. Adam in the chat. Yeah, hello everybody. Do us a favour.
Hello.
Share the stream, would you? Stick a little like on it. Do all that shit. It really fucking helps us. Cheers. Right, we're gonna come on to Nils and Mindustries and Yuri and all of that in a little while. We're not going to do our normal complete deep dive because Nils has been on the show for a while, but Nils is one of our friends, one of our good friends, so we can just shoot the shit and be quite organic later on. So we're just going to talk about Mindustries and all of those things in a little bit. But first up, a word from our sponsors. Actually, fuck the sponsors this time because we're going to change the sponsors. So first up, the New Blood.
New Blood.
First up on this month's New Blood is Rupture with the final note.
Vinny.
Let's go.
The brown note.
What is it that you truly seek? Life is not a journey with a final destination. It is a dance, a symphony that plays on, whether you choose to hear it or not. But the beauty of it, the mystery of it, is that you are the dancer, the musician, the conductor, and the audience all at once. Is that we've been taught to treat life as a means to an end. We've been trained to believe that we are going somewhere, that there is some pinnacle to reach, some grand moment of arrival where we shall finally be happy, fulfilled, complete. But consider, if you will, the absurdity of this notion. Suppose a symphony were written in such a way that the entire purpose was to get to the final note as quickly as possible. The musicians would rush, they would speed through the most beautiful passages just to reach the end. They finally struck that last note. There would be silence and nothing more. Life. Itself. The meaning of a song is in the singing of it. Life, too, is meant to be lived, not merely suffered through in anticipation of some grand resolution. And yet, So many of us live as though we are constantly preparing for a future.
What he's got to say for himself, because he's always entertaining, right? Hey everyone, do you know that feeling when you start a project and everything just immediately falls into place? Where you barely have to think about what you're doing because the project is practically finishing itself. Well, fuck me, I guess, because this definitely wasn't one of those projects. I wanted to make a slow, atmospheric and semi-melodic track for a long time now, which I could use as my intro for my slower sets. So I went looking for a cool vocal to build around, which I found in a lecture from Adam Watts. Usually once I have my vocal, the rest comes naturally, but this one was very challenging to work on. I felt that it had a lot of potential, but I really had to grind to get structure and sound the way I wanted it to be. That being said, I definitely like the way this one turned out, but I feel like it still could use some tweaks to really make it stand out. I'm very eager to hear what you guys think about it, and feedback is obviously very welcome. Much love from the smallest man in industrial, Vinny. Bless you, Vinny. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
actually.
likewise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like in
Price
terms of-
wise.
No, but in terms of tweaking, maybe the only thing I would say, the part where the second kick kind of drops, make sure that has a bit more impact, maybe, because it has less impact than the one he started with. But other than that, like also percussive wise, kick drums, the overall melody I really liked. So yeah, good job, man. Like I think maybe really like the end of bar breakbeat edit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe do something more with that, or do like a breakdown with that, something to make it. If you think you need something to make it more interesting, you could maybe reintroduce something like that, or make it a bigger part of the track. But other than that, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Also sonically, it sounded good.
Yeah. I turned it right up on my system. I was like, oh, those kicks were fantastic. They were really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, same as you, Nils. The only thing I thought that, if you want to add a little bit more spice to the turnarounds, and like use a kind of little breaky bits or a kind of like couple of, just kind of tweaked out kicks, just at the end of bar sort of stuff, just to give it a bit more variation. But other than that, I thought it was a great track, man. I really liked it all. The mix sounded nice. There was like nice bits of percussion that sounded kind of nice and sparkly.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was quite subdued, but kind of like
Enough.
wasn't. Yeah, it was enough to kind of move the track along, keep it really interesting. So, and shout out for using the Alan Watts vocals,
really
samples
nice
as well. Big fan of Alan Watts. So cool, awesome, great stuff, Vinny. Great stuff.
Yeah. Really good, Vinny. Felix Counterattack saying maybe some extra effects. Let me just bring that up on the screen here. Maybe some extra effects on the vocal imports could be nice, like in the break, some extra reverb, reverse reverbs, delays, or something. But really nice overall. The Huds Danny said, my wife walked in like, what the fuck is this music? And says, Greg looks like a buff Simon Pegg.
Cheers, this is. Cheers. You're on the money. I'll take that.
Take it.
Take it. Off Simon Pegg.
And Vinny's saying, feedback is noted and will be very useful. Keep going, Vinny. You're doing a wicked job. And I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, mate.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we've got Solemn Warning with Hades. Let's go. The summer of doom is here.
It is doomy indeed.
Very, very doomy. Really, really nice.
Also liking this one as well. Yeah, you go first, Joe.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Solemn warning. I'll give you a solemn warning. My name is Devin. And I'm from the Netherlands. I used to make music under the name Biomech up until 2014. My most notable release is on an industrial propaganda with a track called Realm of Existence, which was mastered by DJ Hidden. This track was also played by the outside agency on the Ground Zero 2013 mix CD. Shortly thereafter, I haven't produced any music in nearly 10 years due to various reasons. In 2023, I started making music again, and I got the honour to release 2 tracks on Dark Descent in October 24. This weekend, my new release will hit Dark Descent Bandcamp page, titled Into the Void, which will feature 2 tracks. Main inspirations are Outside Agency, Mindustries, Ophidian, Strange Arrival, Death Machine, Switch Technique, Embryonic, The Relic, Rude Awakening, Envital, Ghost in the Machine, The Silence, and various metal bands. Nice. So, I'm going to go to Greg first. Gregory.
Really cool. Really good. I am enjoying kick drum quality today.
Yes. Good submissions, right?
Right? Two really nice kick drums straight off the bat. Solid, chunky, really nice, doomy. I love that kind of pace. Feels very kind of in that world of Dark Descent, Outside Agency, industrially, Mindustries-y vibes. Really like it. I mean, I don't really know what more to say. I was it was like the mix down felt solid. The atmosphere is similar to Vinny's thing. There's like, when you've got that kind of like atmosphere that can drive the track along, that keeps it interesting, you know, and something like that that's always moving, then and that's kind of, I think, one of the staples of the kind of genre, really, where tunes can be kind of like slow, you know,
it's
but
bleak,
they always feel like
right?
they're moving and interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's you know, it's really taking on the journey. I think it's really good stuff. So I haven't got much more to add. I thought it was a great track, really well produced. I'm looking forward to seeing some more. Nils?
Yeah,
Nils.
well, it's same Nils. Just another lot to add as well. I really like the end of bar, the kick drum edits with like the more distorted. You have this pretty clean overall kick drum, and then those are kind of edits that Yuri would always love to do, by the way. So I really recognize that. It's like, hey, you know, this is I would definitely play this. So and yeah, like you said, if you have something doomy atmosphere and the kind of thing going, it doesn't need a lot. If you can keep that interesting, it doesn't need a lot of extra layering or extra, you know, it just it works. So in terms of I really liked it.
I really liked it
There's
too.
not much, and yeah, like Greg said, kick drum quality for sure.
Very, very good. The submissions have been really good this month, actually. Very impressed. Hi, Nori, by the way.
I want to add that it makes me really hopeful for the future, is hearing all these slow jams and like well-produced slow jams, well thought out. Well, you know,
We've had quite a lot last, especially the last few streams. Other than Stasma, we had a few people like who are synonymous with slower hardcore on the bounce.
Yeah.
So we've had quite a lot recently, and the throughput's been really good, and the quality's been really, really good. It seems like it's getting a lot better, like better and better all the time, actually, the new blood, which is quite nice to see. Shout out to Nori, who put his head in and said, "Hi, guys, have to work, but I just came to say hi and I wish you a great show. You're all cool dudes."
What's up, Nori?
Nice Nils
Thank
is on
you.
the show, and I'll see you somewhere in Belgium soon, Nori. Yeah, you will, buddy.
Oh, I've got to send him a track. I forgot. I'll send it, Nori. Don't worry.
All right. Hi, Nori. Bye, Nori. Thank you, Solemn
Nori.
Warning. Appreciate the submission again. Keep up the great work. It's nice to see that you're back and you're getting releases and well deserved as well based on that. So, keep it up, man. Wicked.
Cool.
Next up, we've got Noizequake with Awakened by Fire, Chained by Fate.
Yeah, you weren't joking with the laugh.
No, I didn't even know. I didn't even know, man.
Serious?
Honestly, no, I had no idea. I was just joking about, and it started to do the same thing. The fuck, man.
Yeah.
Right. Shout to Solemn Warning, by the way. He jumped in real quick from the previous producer.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
on holiday in Croatia. He just put his head in to say thanks. Have a great holiday, man. Big up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Have a blast over there.
Yeah. So about Noizequake, let me do this. Okay. Hello, it's me again. Not me, obviously. Noizequake. It's me again. The Speedcore Venus Schnitzel. Well, not so much Speedcore today. When you read this, it means that I got chosen to be played on the show again. Yay! I'm most likely not there because my life just decided to go like that. Well, actually, he is in the chat, so hey. I'm always happy to read and hear everyone's feedback. I always try to improve. There's so many inspirations in music. I could never name them all, but you all inspire me. Aww. Well, if you decide to check my socials, don't shy away from commenting stuff you like or dislike. Don't do that. Always happy when people listen to my tracks. Well, I really enjoyed that track, guys. I thought that had a vibe, like genuinely.
Yeah, it definitely had a vibe.
Yeah, I think the kick needed a bit of work. I think we had two on a bounce, but this one needed a bit more sub in there, I think. And I think the harmony, those elements, I think they were nice, but I think they needed some work to make them sound not too like on the nose a little bit. I think it needed some bit more movement in there. What did you guys think?
Well, exactly that. I think a bit of movement and maybe try. I don't know. I would try if I was working on this track. Was probably add an extra layer just to really to make it maybe a bit more like dissonant or a bit more like exciting. And at the end, he did like the arpeggiated part with the 16th notes. That kind of needed an introduction, I think. Like he switched to that and
just
like,
a little bit of just a tease, just to show that it was going to come.
Yeah, exactly. It needed
Yeah.
it needed a kind of a prelude to that part. The kick drum, I would like a bit more punch also.
Yeah.
But that's also because the arpeggiated sound he chose is also pretty pointy and pretty. So the kick it kind of, I think it was too much contrast between the two.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's something that we haven't really talked about on the show, but it's something that I think producers should be aware of, is that if your track has transients in it, those transients need to be balanced like the rest of the mix, right? If you have one element that sticks out a mile and has got this real big sharp, slap on it, but nothing else does, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like the balance doesn't feel there. So you want like think about how your kick slaps and how your snares slap, or your claps, or whatever percussion elements, or even synths and stuff, like you say, Nils. There was a very kind of like plucky synth in there and stuff, right? So thinking about how we balance our transients is another really important thing and a very useful tip to think about. There are definitely tracks that get sent over to me where like the kick will just be missing that punch, but it'll all be in the snare and stuff. It's just a case of finding that kind of balance between the two. But so anyway, going back to the track, some really interesting ideas. Yeah, really, like it was a little I wouldn't say avant-garde, but certainly a little out there and stuff, with all the kind of maniacal laughing and stuff, and nice atmospheres. It did need a little work. The kick was definitely a little off where it needs to be, compared to the first two tracks we listened to that had the weight and had the bass and had the punch. All the elements were
the
kind
low
of
end
right.
tail and everything.
Yeah. So there's work to do on the kick, but I mean, really cool ideas, and that's the most important thing, right? You can fix all these things in the mix, and you can work on your kicks, but it's about having, are you someone that has kind of cool, creative, interesting ideas, or are you just trying to follow the rest of the, what everyone else is doing? So really good stuff. And I like the name Noizequake. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I think
like Greg said, the idea is really nice. I like the concept.
Yeah.
The laughing was good, but I think it was a little bit overused. A little bit. Like
But that's kind of like almost something that made it a bit interesting as well, because it was just like it's a bit too much, and sometimes I like a bit like when it's a little bit too much. It's kind of like I kind of wanted to stop a little bit, but it's still going.
I think that was a bit of a deep insight into you there, Gregory. we won't dig
read what you want. Okay.
All right, good shit, Noizequake.
Exactly.
Awesome. Oh, Greg's gone. See you later.
Yeah, just homered into the hedge.
Nice one. Next up, we have got Holly Complex. Let's go. Unfortunately, yet again, no bio from Holly. Very little information on the internet. I believe Holly is based in Japan.
It's Japanese.
Yeah, please tell me, chat. I think that's the case. Has released on prototypes.
Prototypes, yeah.
Yep. Don't know a great deal more. This person eludes me with details. But please, Holly, in the future, if you could give us some bio or something, even if it's using ChatGPT, that would be great, because we're really curious. And we really like your stuff, actually. Nils, what did you think?
Yeah, the intro immediately grabbed me, like the soundscapes and everything. It was like, oh, this is interesting. This is different, which I really liked. The then the part with the kick drum really liked. The second part with the arpeggiator, it kind of felt like still like loose bits. Like it needs some tying together from my because there's really something there. So there's something super interesting there, but it needs something that ties it together, or that easily transcends from the transition between one part and the other was kind of lost to me a bit. But there's some really interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, there was the intro needed a little bit more variation, a little bit more going on, I think, before it kind of got to the kind of first big kind of synth and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty solid. I mean, he sounds like the kick drums are from that kind of prototype school. I kind of sound very like Iridium Nagasaki type, very solid, very kind of industrial heavy, tick all the right boxes and stuff. So but yeah, I think you're right, Nils. There was a few bits that kind of felt like it just needed to kind of come together a little bit more. It needed a bit more cohesion, I think, between some of the parts and some of the sounds. But really, really cool track. I mean, it's just fine tuning. I think, kind of like I said, a few more edits and variation in the intro, and then just kind of link in the parts to kind of give you something that kind of feels really a bit more well polished. But it's a really good track.
Yeah,
Joe?
indeed. I really liked it. Like you guys say, it feels like it needed tying it together a little bit, but I like the fact that Holly likes to experiment, and it's not. It just feels different. It's
from the get-go.
It's very
that second
kind of
drop
niche.
slapped as well when that kick came back in. That was really nice
and different to what they normally send as well. So yeah, good stuff. Cool. But I would like a bio. Please send a bio. I'd really like to give you some limelight or something, Okay, next up, Folie Deux with Alien. Let's go.
Folie Deux.
Ever gazed up into the night sky and wondered at the possibility of life on other planets? What marvelous beings might exist out there, hands extended in friendship, awaiting the moment when we humans take our first tentative steps into space. What tales will be told of that glorious day when we are first contacted by our brothers from beyond the stars?
detecting alien life forms.
Wow,
Yes.
that was really different.
Wow.
That was
Spike
cool,
my
man.
coffee.
Yes, someone had a lot of fun making music. That's for
That
sure.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but
a little bit about the. Go on, Nils. Carry on, mate.
no. You go. It's your show.
I'm not ready.
Okay.
I wasn't ready for that. I know that.
No, exactly. No, the first thing that I just fucking love is that you hear someone who's had a lot of, or some people who had a lot of fun making music.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this. Yeah. That's what I really like about it. Really interesting melody, really interesting switches. I think this would go off, like for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is Marksman and I want to say Distorted. Yeah, Marksman and Distorted, two delusional minds making music with a question mark. We live it, you love it. Nice. I like it. I like it. It was really cool. It was so many different things all at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that there was one thing that jumped out at me, and that was the section with the breaks. It was nice, but it could have felt tighter. The chops could have been a bit tighter to make it the breaks pop through a little bit. But I think that was my only real criticism. It was just a lot of fun. I would dance to that. I would wiggle my ass all day to that shit. Yeah.
This is the thing. This is just a really fun idea, and you hear that people had a lot of fun working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I love that when you just can hear the fun.
Yeah, and there's so much variation. There's so much going on with it. It's like there's times when we've heard stuff like, that kind of feels like 2 or 3 different tracks, and it feels like just a jumble. But this felt like it was absolutely all the same thing, and I loved that it kind of took you in all these different directions. Because I think when you set yourself up for that, when you create the intro and you set the scene, and you kind of go, okay, this is going to be something a little different, a little weird, then you're more open to going in. To letting crazy different things happen.
Yeah, if you allow yourself to do that. Yeah.
And I think it's how you set the scene with your track. And this was kind of like straight from the get-go with all the kind of crazy little vocal edits and glitches and that sounded like some like Daft Punk on acid.
It was like Daft Punk on acid, yeah.
Right? And so then you're like you're immediately open, like, okay, this is going to be weird and wonderful. I'm going to see where it takes me, right? And that is the difference between doing something like that and something where you kind of like hear a track that feels like 2 or 3 different tracks stuck together. Yeah. Where you don't feel that you're ready for those kind of like that variation in switches because the scene hasn't been set for you mentally. Where you're ready to be open for that.
So they're not related in your head. There's nothing familiar.
Exactly. Yeah. I love this, man. This is everything that makes making music fun, right? It's kind of experimental, it's hard, it's weird,
it's expressive funny as well. That's the main thing. It feels like fun.
It's a personal thing, right? It feels like somebody wanted to do this and not to make it sound like anything. We just wanted to make this.
Yeah. And then that break section in the middle, I was just like, fucking hit me, dude. That was crazy. So much fun.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Shout to Marksman and Machine Division as well. I see you doing your thing,
guys.
man.
Great job. Keep doing more of this.
Yeah, keep going, guys.
Awesome.
Keep going.
Yep.
Shout to Nanostorm in the chat. Hello. It was nice to meet you at Heresy not too long ago again, dude. Hope you're good. Next up, I've got something a little bit fun, actually, because...
More fun than that?
Yeah. No, I'm curious.
Well, so a little while ago... Gregory challenged somebody in the chat to make a track with dolphin noises.
Did I?
Yes, you did. And he's in the chat now, Felix Counterattack, and he accepted your challenge and he made a track with snares with dolphin noises. So I'm going to play this now. Hold on. Right, let's put this on and make sure I'm not fucking this up. Right, I'm going to zoom it in so we can see it properly. Right, here we go. This is Felix Counterattack with Dolphin Core. And I'm going to leave Greg's volume up so we can hear him laughing. And I'm going to start it again, so I'm not raping it. There you go.
Bravo, sir. Bravo.
Well played, Felix. Fucking
There you
well
go,
played.
there you
And I'm
go.
sorry I forgot to play it, eh? I told you I would, and I remembered it today. So, yeah, big up, man.
Amazing.
Fucking good shit.
Amazing. Awesome.
Sorry about the volumes up and downs there. The audio was different in the thing I had to fuck about. Anyway, good shit. And you win. You win today's New Blood. Next up, we've got Red Flag with Regression. Let's go. Oh, I'm going to keep the brakes down. My bad. All right. Little bit about Red Flag. Let me take this off here. Right. Yep. Red Flag is an artist based in Ireland, soon to be NL. Ooh, interesting. Producing and DJing all styles from hard techno to UK hardcore and beyond. Regression is a remix of a collaboration I released last year with iDefinite, Back to Zero. While the original was much closer to mainstream hardcore, I felt that the melody could use with a UK hardcore update, and I've been working on it and off for the past few weeks. Taking a lot of inspiration from the DJ producer Dolphin and the technoist on this one, diving into a more atmospheric style of industrial. The naming Regression is based on that it's a similar theme to the original, uses an older style of music and perhaps sounds worse than it did before. That's a bit harsh on yourself, to be fair. Still a work in progress, but was encouraged to send this in. I think that there's some solid elements in there, but I'm a bit lost on where to take it to get it to the next level. Took the feedback from the last show to boost up the breaks. I also tried doing that with the kicks, but I don't think it worked. The intro still feels like a mess, but hopefully gets the vibe across. Big thanks to the Oblivion crew. Feel free to tear this one to shreds in the feedback. All right. Well, Greg.
I don't feel like the intro.
Go on. Nils.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
Whatever.
Totally
You're
missed that
the
cue.
guest.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a mess at all. Actually, it didn't sound to me like and I think I don't, of course I don't know the original, but this melody totally feels like a UK vibe. Like it could use that. So he was right about that decision. First of all, I think maybe the breaks could still use a little boost, but I don't know about that. I think Greg is probably more qualified to talk about that than I am. It was same with the kick drums, by the way. I think they could be a little bit more forefront, but not too much, because that's always what I liked about the UK stuff, that it wasn't about the kick
Balance.
drums.
Yeah.
It was about, the balance was different. The same with like, the stuff I used to listen to, like all stuff from Greg, all stuff from Luke and everyone. Like the kick wasn't the main element. It was about all the other stuff, and the kick was just there to keep it going.
Yeah.
So, but I think having said, it still could use a little boost.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Yeah, I'd like to have another listen to it, actually. Like,
We
not
can
right
play
now,
again.
but
Let's play again. We can play again.
Just give us a little bit if you can.
I'm going to play from halfway through the introduction section, and let's go again.
There's a lot going on in there that's really interesting. There's some really clever little arps and stuff. There's a lot of what do you call it? Like tonal fragmentation, I think they call it, right? So it's kind of like all stuff that's in key, but it's not using like repetitive arps or ostinatos and stuff. So you get these kind of everything feels like it, and it's not polyrhythm either. It's like it feels like it falls somewhere in between. I think they call it tonal fragmentation, where you take all these kind of sort of ARP ideas and stuff, and you have different sections and different variations of them. But that made it really interesting. The mix definitely needs a bit of work. Like the breaks definitely need to be balanced a bit more with all the brightness of the synths and stuff like that. But there's a really nice, really interesting tune there. Some very kind of clever techniques. Technically, it sounds very, very interesting. If you really want to make it dance for you, then there's work to do on the mix. You know, I kind of think the kick needs to be a little rounder, a bit fuller and stuff like that, and sit with the breaks a bit nicer. But it's a really cool track. I really like that. I really like it.
Oliver saying apparently it's tonal fragmentation. Saying that because you repeated yourself, I guess.
Okay.
But I like. Do you know what? I really respect what Red Flag's doing at the moment, because he started producing and he was like doing this industrial thing and getting caught up in the chase for that and like then some of like the techno thing. But like the last few submissions, it's clear that he's really like trying to learn this UK hardcore culturally, like learning it from the ground up, and you can see the progression is gradually coming and like learning the art of it. And I really respect that, you know. He's like not taking an easy path here. He's not like just bashing out sample packs and stuff like that and making bangers. He's really trying to learn the art.
There's a lot of technical stuff going on, musically there, which is makes it really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Great job. I really like it. I mean, you know, the mixed stuff will come, but like, again, it's coming back to the thing. The ideas drive everything.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember back in the day, you had some tracks that would sound like I remember some old acid stuff, and it would sound like shit, but you just loved the track because like it had something, but it didn't sound that great. The mixing wasn't great, but there was something there that made you play it over and over again. So it's always about the idea.
I think Oliver might be a bit misunderstood in the chat, saying what you're on about. This is called dance music for a reason. I don't think anybody's saying that isn't. It's not dance music. I would still dance to it, but there's different levels to that, right? It's it doesn't have to be bangers. You can still dance and get lost in a trance on something. You know. Anyway, don't know why I'm explaining that.
Cool.
Red flags in the chat. Appreciating the feedback. Cheers, guys. You're welcome. Nice one.
Yeah,
Shout to Robert in the chat. Been a minute, bro. How are you doing? What's good? Hope you're not working too hard, buddy. All right, next up and finally on the New Blood is Veeglix with the Invention of Loud. Let's go. What a contrast.
Indeed.
Fucking hell. Tell about the artist. Let me just stop this track. This is Veeglix. I am Felix, 27 years old, from the Netherlands. I've been producing for about 3 years now as a hobby in my free time. I'm mostly producing industrial hardcore techno, but also enjoy making drum and bass and other bass heavy music. I've always been inspired by the sounds of Hellfish, DJ producer Akira and Drox, to name a few, but I could keep on listing names. Would love to know what you guys think about the track. Kind regards, Felix. What do you reckon, Greg? Oh, that's not Greg, that's Greg.
Yeah, that was quite a tune. So yeah, really nice kind of end of the set, end of the night kind of track to go a bit crazy. There was loads of kind of fun elements in it. Some really nice kind of pots and pans of breaks in there as well. The second drop came in a bit suddenly. It's like could have done with a bit of advance notice. To kind of to introduce the kicks before they came back in, but fine. It was kind of a bit scattershot. Yeah, it was a fun track, man. It was really nice. It was loud. It was noisy.
It was very fucking loud. Jay wrote in the chat he didn't have to boost the volume on that one. He has to balance the tracks for me for the New Blood, and that one didn't need it.
Yeah, did exactly what it was supposed to do, I guess. Nils, what do you think?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's definitely end of night track. I think some of the elements could use little, like tiny, there's some claps in there that could use just a little, like maybe, but that's also a taste thing, maybe. Just little reverbs to make them a bit more interesting. I could definitely recognize the Akira and Drox influences there. Also, like certain snare patterns and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, this is like, I totally get that. And yeah, I love this stuff at the end of the night. You know, it definitely works. But I think some of the elements, some of the balance in between needs to be a bit more. It needs to be worked on. Yeah. But I love like the sped up pots and pans breaks and like Greg said, there's lots of fun elements in there, and especially when at the end of the night people go crazy to this. So
yeah, totally. Yeah, 6 a.m. in Tokyo.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Nice one, Felix. Thanks for closing the New Blood with that chaos. Keep going. Keep submitting.
Awesome.
Thanks very much.
Yep. Great job, everyone, tonight.
Thanks to everyone on the New Blood. I want to say sorry to some of the people that didn't get on. We had too many good submissions, and namely, Sight of Scene and SPF. Your tracks would have been on, but you were on the last show, so I have to call that. You have to not go on if we've got too many, so sorry about that. It's the rules, it's fair. But please keep submitting, don't be disheartened. There won't be a New Blood on the next show, by the way, because the next show is going to be a special edition. It's going to be the 50th episode, so no New Blood on that one. But there will be something.
Look at you guys, 50.
Yeah.
I was going to say I'm not going to say it, but then that's not even funny.
No, next show is going to be a special edition. So there will be some New Blood involvement, which I'll communicate in Discord, but there won't be an actual New Blood on the next show. There's going to be something else. It's going to be something cool that everybody can get involved in.
50 years of Oblivion.
Feels like it, right?
It does, man.
So, nice one to everyone on the New Blood.
New Blood.
All right, next up, we're going to do an interview section with Nils, Mr. Mindustries. Meantime, I'm going to do a little bit of propaganda. So if you guys want to take a toilet break, then now is a great time to do so. Boom. So, oh, that's the wrong thing. Boop. Pressing all the wrong buttons. Panic. I'm panicking, everybody. I'm panicking. Uh-oh. Kaboom! Here we go. Right, so if you didn't already know, then let me tell you, there's ways that you can support the Oblivion Underground show. You can join our membership scheme if you want. You don't have to. The show will not change if you do or if you don't for your viewing experience. But if you want to support us a little bit and help us improve the show, get better equipment, improve our guests and so on, and improve our guests. That came out wrong. Anyway, shout out to Randy, who's gifting memberships, by the way. Anyway, back on track. If you want to help the show, you can join our membership scheme. All that is a way to put a little bit of money each month to support the show, allow us to get better things. And if you do that, then we try to give you something back. Just little things, but things nonetheless. You get loyalty badges next to your names. In the comments, you'll see in the chat, people have got coloured badges depending on how long they've been a member of the show. A lot of people have got this red badge and the blue badge. Nobody's quite at this one yet, I don't think. But yeah, and you also get access to the emojis, the custom emojis that are in the chat. You get discount at oblivionunderground.com, permanent discount at oblivionunderground.com for your merch. You get more likely to get shout outs because we can see your name bright in the chat on the admin view. Access to community and exclusive Discord member ranks. Tier 2, which is $2.99 a month, you get all of the stuff that was on Tier 1, but you also get our digital releases for free. You get priority notification for merch drops, and we've got some really cool stuff on the way, by the way. It's been quiet for a minute, but there is some shit coming, and members-only live chats. Tier 3, which is a kind of our God tier membership, $9.99 a month. You get all of the stuff from the previous one, but you get vouchers at Oblivion Underground and Hardcore Beer. You get early access, so you get the Oblivion promos that get sent out at the same time as they go out to artists, entry into competitions, members-only videos, priority reply to comments. Randy, you're a legend. How many memberships have you just dropped on people? Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Really, really appreciate it. So I talked a little bit there about Discord. I'm wondering if Jay stitched me up today. Doesn't look like it yet, so that's great. What is Discord? Discord is like IRC, like MSN Messenger, like Skype, like old school chat room style forum area that's way away from all of the shit that's going on Facebook and Instagram, etc. And it's a place where we can hang out and talk shit, talk about music, talk about anything. We've got lots of different channels over here in our Discord server. To come and introduce yourself. We've got a chit chat area where we can talk about whatever we want. Members only area, community chat, so you get to hear latest things that are going on from the show. We've got a whole creative zone over here, so for producers sharing stuff about producing plugins and stuff like that. DJing, questions for DJs or equipment or stuff like that. We've got gaming, where we organise sometimes gaming sessions. We'll play on a Sunday afternoon, play some silly games together and hang out in the voice channel. Graphic design, video design, editing, people asking questions about that. I recently answered something for Stu Wild. He was asking about OBS. Same for streaming. If anybody has questions about streaming or anything like that, then happy to answer. And then we've got like a link sharing section here, so we're not spamming the main chat. This is a goldmine for good music, by the way. The link sharing tracks and releases, and same for DJ sets, mixes. If you're ever stuck in the gym and you need something to listen to, this is my go-to. I just jump in here, click a set, and away I go. There's always really good sets being dropped in here. Live streams, of course. Yeah, goes without saying. Live streams, always good stuff in here. Movies, series, memes, jokes, events, and so on. So yeah, if you want to get involved in our Discord server, then please do. You'll find a link below this stream to get in there. Hop in, come and say hello, hang out. And yeah, we're going to do something really interesting on the next show with the Discord server. So get in there, get amongst it, get involved. Yeah, there's my spam. Done. Propaganda.
Nice
complete.
Spamming. Someone's not complete yet.
No. Foxhound in the chat. Hi, dude. Nice to see you in there. Nice to see you at Heresy the other week. We was a bit loosey-goosey. Well, I was anyway.
Yeah, were you now?
Oh, yeah. I went out on a good time.
Yeah.
I went on a good time.
A jolly old time.
Yeah, you know one of those times where you're just like not concerned about hanging out and just go on the dance floor and just throw beer all over yourself and just whatever. It was one of those nights. No regrets. It was fucking
nice.
Well needed.
Congrats, those are fun.
Yeah, it was a good night, actually. I had a really good night at Heresy. It was a good party. Fair dues to all involved. Nice. Greg took a dive. Someone's written in the chat. Florist.
Someone fell down the stairs.
Just checking if
There he
anybody
is.
else.
He brought snacks.
Hello.
Hello, snack man.
More snacks.
That's more snacks.
Pickles. Pickle flavor.
Oh, they're good
fuck
ones.
you. That's good.
I've just run out of my stock of balsamic vinegar and sea salt crisps from Tesco in the UK. People always bring them for me because they're my favourites. So I'm hoping my mates have brought some over for this weekend because I'll be pissed if they haven't. I hope you're watching, guys, you fuckers. Anyway, you fuckers, bring me my crisps. When you're an English person, salt and vinegar crisps are important, man. You can't fucking go without that shit. It's crap.
Dude, snacks is just,
Yeah.
it's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't happen in the Netherlands. They're like, what the fuck are you putting vinegar? Vinegar? We're like,
Yeah.
why would you put vinegar on your food, you fucking mental bastards?
Yeah. We used to have to clean.
Yeah, right?
Fucking hell. Right. Without further ado, it's a time to focus on you, Mr. Nils, Mr. Mindustries. So it's been a different year for you, shall we say? It's been a difficult year and a transformative year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Transformative, lots of reflecting on what we've actually have done.
Yeah.
With Mindustries and what it came to be, and how many people actually are still with you and still listen. You know, it's a really interesting year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, losing Yuri was of course horrible, and it still is. It's weird, and something I'm still dealing with.
Yeah.
Because he's still, if you work with someone for 20 years, like those patterns are like kind of grinded into the way you work and the way you do stuff. So I still have moments where I'm working on something. It's like, oh, I need to, send this to. Oh wait.
Yeah.
But that's still in there, which is not weird at all, and just how these things go. But one of the, it's hard to name it, but like a really welcome and a really nice side thing that's happening now is that a lot of people are coming up to me and asking me, first of all, how I'm doing, and like condolences and everything, but every one of them tells me a story about either our music or an experience they've had during a show of ours, or stories I probably would normally not hear that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And now because they approach you, you get to, you kind of get a nice idea of what your music has meant to some people, or that you've actually reached some people with just throwing something out there that was something from us, just something personal, and it actually connected to some people, and people actually gravitated to it. And so it's also a year where I'm very grateful for all the things that we have done together.
Yeah,
indeed. Sorry.
So I was the time when it happened, when you found out, was particularly I don't want to say weird, because it was when a gig was about to happen, right?
Yes, I just finished playing. I had to play on the it was a DEF CON, and I had to play with him on Saturday, and this was the Friday, and I was just done playing with Frank, because on Friday I had to play as Ghost in the Machine with Frank. And just had a really good time and just walked around. And I think right about the time during like 9-10 in the afternoon or in the evening, I was like by myself just walking around. And all of a sudden I got the call from a mutual friend of ours. She called me. She's like, hey, where are you? And she's like, no. She's like, oh, you're at a party. We should do this later. But I could hear like in her voice that something was up. Something wasn't good. And then she told me that he passed away. So then I was like, it was really weird, like standing there with like thousands of people, feeling like you're not supposed to be here, or what. I had no idea what to do. So I just called my girl. I was like, hey, okay, so this just happened. I don't know. She's like, is Frank still there? Is he still there? Just naming people, like, are they still there? So yeah, but I ended up just going to the car and driving home. And then the next day, of course, I was like, what am I gonna do? Because we were supposed to do a back-to-back with Fracture 4 on the Saturday.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I, what am I gonna do? And it's like the only thing that I can do now, because it's too late for everything else. Because because he had an accident at home. It was a really unfortunate accident. So it's like, there's nothing I can do anymore except do that show, because that's who we were. I just have to be there. And then on the way there, getting the next morning, getting all these phone calls from people, also from Q-Dance and everyone. Like, hey, what are we supposed to do? Should we do something? Well, all you need to know is that I'm on my way, and I'm going to do the show. And it ended up being a really beautiful day, actually, because that also calls for kind of story. I think when Yuri and I started, our first release was 2004. The hardcore scene was pretty. It felt closer together, than it is now. I think now the scene has been it's been so evolved that every subgenre has its own parties and its own artists and its own. So everyone, you don't see each other every weekend. But back then, guys like Nosferatu and Endymion, the more mainstream guys, we would see them. We would play the same parties, and that kind of disappeared because every subgenre had its own parties. The only place where that still happens, where we see each other, are the DEF CONs, the Decibels, all these festivals, because we have one artist village where we all eat. Yeah. So you get to hang out again. So I remember entering the morning after I heard of his passing, and just basically seeing everyone there that we grew up with together. Everyone that played a part in our, from agents to artists to artists that signed us to everyone basically was there. So it kind of felt right to be there. Like there was no other place
a support
that
network kind of thing.
Yeah. Because outside of this, Yuri and I, especially the last couple of years, we didn't see each other every week or every month, even sometimes. We talk, but the thing that we really had together was this music thing. So to just be there and remembering him basically, but then surrounded by everyone who also remembers us as that duo and remembers us from that specific part of our lives, like the music part, felt really fitting or something. I didn't want to leave. I remember I just was there all day, and it felt like, this is where I need to be right now. And feeling the support from everyone there also made me realize, man, we had some amazing times. Met some amazing people, did some amazing stuff, and this is kind of the test. This is the result of that. That I'm just walking around here feeling very supported and feeling very kind of taken care of. In a way.
It's also times like that where you realize that even people that you may have had differences for stupid things, that life is more important than those almost insignificant differences, right? It really breaks down those barriers in that moment.
Everyone steps over everything, steps over their egos, their whatever differences, whatever. It was just there to support, and that's the really beautiful thing. But then the main thing where we all know each other was just music. That's how it started. That's how it all started.
That's the essence, right? Yeah.
That's the essence. Yeah. Like-minded, kind of. Yeah. So it was a really weird, very specific way of hearing something like that, being at a festival and actually having to play that set. And another thing that was weird, because the news wasn't really out yet, but I saw it happen while I was playing. In the crowd while I was playing. Wow. I saw people walking up to other people, talking, and then looking at me, being and then doing this, and I could be like, yeah, it's true. So I could see, that was the weirdest experience ever, seeing that while you were playing.
We're so used to seeing joy in the crowd, right? So to see
and people were still very supportive, but to see that happen in a crowd, the people talking, seeing the news land, and then people looking up at you, being like, "Hey, is this this is bullshit, right?" And I would have to go no, this is true. And then afterwards, everyone was of course waiting for me to come out and have a chat, but it was all still so surreal that whole day. It didn't land yet, of course. It was just autopilot. And also, I wasn't exactly sober because it was just okay. I'm just gonna numb myself to get through
Well,
this day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a weird day. But I actually talked about it last week at Play Festival. I had to play there, and I was done playing, and then I was just gonna walk around, and I ran into the people of Just In Case who always do the artist artist management and the transportation and everything. And Sus actually had to call me. She was the one calling me like, "Hey, what should we do?" And so I had a whole talk about that with her. She came up to me like, "Hey, how are you? You know, how are you doing?" It's like, yeah, it was so weird having to call you. You know, that whole day was so weird because it started in the morning with that news. And I was like, oh shit, we have to call him and what we should. So it was really interesting to also hear from the other side. So we talked about that actually. Talked about last week, like what a weird day it was to see everything. It was a different festival, and there was like a tribute. I think Sitsa, Month of Madness, did a little tribute at the gold stage. Just randomly, just grabbed the mic and this one's for you. Blah, blah. So there was all this stuff happening that day. But it made me feel really supported and really, really appreciating being a part of all of this. Because it started out just as a passion thing, and you managed to gather all these people. Now you're walking at one of the biggest festivals in the world, feeling supported by all these people there who work there. And everyone's kind of taking care of you. People were calling each other, "Hey, where's Nils? Is he alone? No, is he wife? No, okay, cool." You know, just looking out for you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it felt really good being there. Because but what was the other thing I could have done? Sit at home, cancel the gig. It's like, yeah, of course that there's some people that might have made sense, and in a way, it would have. But no, this felt like no. This the only thing I can do now is like be there in his name and play that set and talk to people or So, but yeah, it's been interesting, man. Like it's like I said, it's really good to talk about it. It helps, but it's also really, how do you say that? It amazes me that some people just walk up to you and just want to say, "Hey, man, condolences." Like I would always be a bit shy to do that to an artist, but there's like literally like kids. There's like, "Hey, just wait." They're just on the side waiting till you finish your conversation to come up to you and say, "Hey, we just want to say, like, respect that you go through with this and blah blah." And the fact that they come up to you to say that, like, I really appreciate that.
Music communities are cool like that, though, right? Because it feels like we connect on a certain level where you feel like you can actually say something like that to somebody sometimes.
Well, that's the thing. Like all these people I've never met, most of these people I've never met before, but you threw something out there that you made yourself, and you kind of connected with that, and now all these things start happening just because you express yourself in a certain way with music, which is it's really interesting.
It's crazy, isn't it? But I think all these people have this like unspoken, unknown connection with you because your music or your sets or whatever have done something that has affected them in a certain way that's had a kind of, however kind of small but impact on them, and they feel that they know you or they know themselves better through their relationship with this music. So it's a very, very interesting dynamic, isn't it? How
I think that only means something. No, sorry to interrupt.
No,
I think something like that, when something like that happens, when you connect with something, that can only mean something if you do something that you believe in, right? Not just cater to something like that. I think it really means something. It's like, hey, I did something that I believed in, and somehow people gravitated to it, or it affected them in which way ever. But that's a special thing. Like same with like meeting artists, meeting all of you guys. Like most of the people that I've met, I used to buy their records first. I used to be a fan first.
Right, yeah.
But for some reason you knew because you listened to their music. It's like, hey, I'm hearing something here that kind of resonates with me. So there must be more to this person that I like than just his music. Because there's something that transcends through that, like whether it's music he or she has listened to, or like whatever. But there's more to it. And I think that also counts for just people who listen to your music and who like your music. It's like, hey, there's probably more to this guy that I like.
We have these connections with these people we don't even know, I guess. And, not just artists or whatever, but kind of all of us, I guess. Kind of have this connection with other people in ways we don't really know until we kind of like talk about and we share, and we kind of, you know, like moments you just said, you know, where people you don't know come up to and give you real kind of, you know, condolences about, you know, losing someone that actually meant something to them that you didn't really even appreciate.
Yeah, or they wasn't even like
crazy.
aware of. Or, yeah, so a moment like this really brought a lot of that stuff to the light, which usually happens with stuff like this. There's always a moment where you take something from it, you know, like so that a really beautiful side to this was seeing that happen.
Yeah.
People expressing their like, hey man, like you really you like I don't know, I went crazy. The first time I heard you play was over there, and then I got into your music. Like all these stories that you probably normally wouldn't even hear. It's that's been really fun to hear.
It's like as an artist, you're speaking a language that only a few people can understand, but when they understand it, they feel like they know you because they're communicating with you, or you're communicating with them via a medium, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So really interesting in many ways, and
So
not all bad.
You and Yuri met in school, right?
Yes,
Do you
actually,
remember
because of
how that happened, or anecdotes?
I very much remember that, because it was also because of hardcore music actually that we met. Because back then, especially in the Netherlands, but I think generally all across, if you listen to a certain type of music, you could see it at how a person was dressed and how they were, whatever, you know. It was really like the lifestyle element was really big. Like you could see a metal hat or a hardcore hat or a hip hop guy, or they were really, you know, you could really see. So I walked around in school dressed like basically a skater, wearing metal shirts. But I listened to all these types of music, and I had a lot of friends who listened to hardcore. To the point where a couple of friends also played records, and I was always super interested in music. So as soon as I got to hang out with them and at their house, I would go through their records and like started, you know, just putting them on, checking them out. So I knew a lot about not just about the compilation CDs when it came to hardcore. I also knew about like certain records and the B-sides and blah blah blah. So I remember one time Yuri and I were in the same class. I think it was in the 3rd or 4th year of high school. And we didn't really talk that much because he was really the typical hardcore head, and I was really to him also. And he to me was a typical hardcore head, and I to him was a typical skater, hip hop guy, whatever. Until we sat next to each other. I remember we were smoking, and we were on the schoolyard, and we were just sitting outside. And he sat next to me, and I had like straight up gabber in my headphones. And all of a sudden, like without, he just grabbed one of the earbuds and just. He was listening. It's like, what the fuck are you listening to? Like, he had no idea. I listened to that. And then we started talking. And then I started talking about, it's this record. No, on the B-side. So like, how do you know all this shit? Like, he had no idea that I was listening to hardcore. So that's how we started, how we connected. And then I found out that he played records as well. And yeah, that really got me interested in like, hey, I played instruments before. I tried guitar for 3 years and didn't work, blah, blah, blah. But then it was like, hey, like this playing records thing I really like. So then I took a full-time, during the school holiday, I took a job at an amusement park, which was really fun. Just conducted like operating the certain machines there, or certain attractions there. So the haunted house and stuff, blah, blah. And I made enough money to buy my first turntables and my first mixer. And then we started talking about playing together when I started catching on, and that's how and we would never talk about producing, but it was always like just playing together, you know, like playing records together, doing sets. And I think I was always toying with making music a bit, but it was always like just little loops, 4-bar, 8-bar loops, whatever, and never anything serious. And I think also during high school, I started focusing on that a bit more. And then Yuri was like, hey, so how do you, how does that work? And then we started slowly thinking about making music together. But still, it was nothing serious. I think it got serious, I think, around that we really think, well, okay, let's try and make tracks with like a head and a tail and everything. And then I think that was like around 2000, maybe 2001, which was also, when I think about it, when hardcore to us became interesting again.
When Hardcore Tales became interesting again.
No, when when the whole hardcore became interesting.
Oh, I thought you said Hardcore Tales. Right, okay,
No.
yeah.
No, I think that was right when, like the promo files, the CAT scan stuff, Armageddon Project. I think those things, like, yeah, producer Simon Underground, like that stuff was. I think the Thunderdome 2001 was a big one for me. If you look at that lineup, it's all like dark stuff.
Yeah.
And to me, it was like, oh, this is amazing. That was the one that really made us look at hardcore more seriously. Like, hey, we should, if this has if this is working, then it really kickstarted our interest again.
Did you have different styles at all, or were you always both into exactly the same stuff, or was one of you a bit more kind of like breaky or anything, or
taste wise, when it came to hardcore, we really had I think our taste was kind of similar. I think that's also what really kickstarted the friendship, the fact that we all know, like, you have these tracks and then the whole track is about that 5 seconds in the track where, like it. And we would get our kicks from those same, very specific, like old PCP stuff and like also the more darker stuff. But and he introduced a lot of stuff to me, I think, when it came to records as well. Certain tracks that, because of course when you draw hardcore, you start with doing the compilation CDs, and then, like I told you, I had some friends who would play records, but then when it came to Yuri, like, he had a lot of records, and so we would always, every day I would just go after school. He lived around the corner. Just go to his house and just start digging, But our tastes were pretty similar, which is, I think, which is why we talked about, like, actually doing stuff together. And that's always been the fun thing, I think, with me and Yuri, because production wise, we did a lot of stuff separately with Mindustries, always. But somehow when you put it together, it always worked, and it always sounded like one thing. Like it never sounded off. Yeah. Even like after not releasing something for like a year or whatever, or not talking to each other for a while, we would do something separately, and as soon as we put it together, it's like, yeah, it's an EP. It's not, it's not like two different producers, one producer doing one side, the other doing the other side. It still works as one thing.
Yeah.
So when did you get more serious about making music then?
I think around 2000, 99, 2000, 2001. Now, let's say 2000, 2001. Then it got more serious in terms of let's try and finish tracks. Instead of just playing around with loops and playing around with sounds, let's try to actually make a track. And that's I think the very first track we did was the Deus Ex Machina one. Just the title track also of the.
That was the first one that you finished.
I think that was the first one that we finished.
And that got picked up by Enzyme.
No, the way that happened was also really fun, because we.
Oh, come on, tell us. Well, should we play it and then tell us the story?
Yeah, let's play it.
Yeah, because we've got it here,
and
right?
I'll tell you about how from that we went on to eventually releasing on Enzyme.
All right, cool. I'm going to play this. Let's go.
very cool.
Man,
Really,
it's
really
so
cool.
long since I've heard that one.
2004. So,
Yep.
tell us the story, because there's loads of versions of this, and there's a remaster as well. Well, there's loads of versions on Discogs. So,
Yeah.
and from what you said before, there's obviously a little bit of story about that. So please indulge.
Well, the way this whole project started was like we finished one track first. Then okay, yeah. If you're thinking about a demo, then it's like okay, let's we need a couple of tracks. And every time we would finish one, like track number 2 or 3, we'd like okay, this is a demo, yeah, right, yeah. But we're also working on that one. That one kind of needs to be on there too. Yeah, okay. So we finished on that one, and meanwhile we were starting 2 other ones. Like yeah, but those are fun too. Yeah, those need to be on there too. So we ended up never sending.
Just describe my life.
Yeah, everyone knows this. I think yeah, but this one's better. Like that's old news. Yeah, it needs to be on there. But yeah, we're also working on this, and this is probably better. And that kept going and going until we had like 13 tracks, I think. And we were always hanging out with Erwin, with Nosferatu. It was still a good friend. And we would we would hang out every now and then. And then he was like, okay, just give me that demo. I'm gonna hand it to Patrick, to Roughneck. And then I think a couple of weeks later, my phone rang, which was really a fun conversation, because he's like, hey, I saw this number that I didn't recognize. Like, hey, this is Nils. Hey, this is Patrick. Oh, sorry, this is Patrick from Carco. Do you know who I am? It's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I know you are. And then he started talking about, I think, playing the game, because I sampled KRS on that, and he's a huge KRS-One fan. So I think it was kind of testing me. So he started asking about hip hop, and then the whole conversation went about old school hip hop. It's like, okay. He's like, okay, I can hear this already. You should come to the office. So okay. So then Yuri and I went over there, and Patrick was like, yeah, I have... that's what he said on the phone, by the way. He's like, I have 13 tracks. Why didn't I hear from you any sooner? He's like, I have 13 tracks here, and I like most of them, Like, and the ones I don't like, he likes, or like the Indian guys like. So I was like, that's usually a good sign, if you have something that like a lot of different people can kind of like. So it's like, why didn't I hear from you before? It's like, I told him the same story. It's like, yeah, because it was never fished or whatever. And he's like, okay, come to the office. And then we talked, and then he offered us to say, like, okay, let's do an album on the main label. Because I always thought this would be tops maximum, like we could get with this was like separate EPs on sub labels. Because it was like industrial stuff, it was alternative hardcore, whatever you want to name it. But he was like, no, let's do an album. And I did the design. The design that I did for the demo is the exact artwork that was on the eventual release.
Such a sick design. Nice.
And to me, of course, it was perfect. Like, hey, to us, like, hey, man, we get to release all our tracks, and then also I can do my own design, and exactly like how we envisioned it, it's going to be released. And not only that, it's going to be on the main label. So I remember it was a big surprise for a lot of people, because we came out of nowhere. We had no like first EP or first single or whatever.
Yeah, just bang, there's the album. That's us.
Yeah. So huge respect for taking that risk as well to Patrick because like it was I don't know, it was a gamble, I think. Still, let's see what this does. And of course he's experienced everything, but still it was I think pretty different from anything else on the label back then. So it's like, and he just gave it a try, and it really worked out because it was presented the way that it was, I think.
Yeah, I've got that on vinyl. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, nice. The only downside to that, to working for years on your album and then having all the tracks released at once, is that you're completely empty after that.
Yeah. Right, back to the drawing board.
Fuck. And it was like, so when's the next release? Like, we had nothing, So that was the next challenge after that, I think.
And how did you overcome that?
It took a while, I think. And let me see if I can see when the next one after that was. Was it soon after that? I don't know even. I'm just gonna check while I'm here. I'm really bad at remembering years.
Well, meantime, check this picture out.
Ha.
Wow. Look at that jawline, Nils. You could cut paper with that.
Oh. Oh yeah, no, the second was a year
Oh,
later.
I forgot about the hair.
Oh yeah, the hair, man. You check this out.
Wow. Check what out?
The hair.
Oh,
Check
I
it.
thought you were like gonna show me something.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. Youngins. That was, I think, the very first press pick. The one you.
Which one?
That one. The one with the.
The one with the pixels.
Yes, the pixel one. Yeah,
They're
man.
cool pics. Wow. Really nice.
Old
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that was the big, like we were talking. That was the big challenge, like being completely empty, like having nothing, and then having your thing released, and then like, okay, when's the next release? It was like, oh fuck, like we need to get back in the studio, work really hard, and but man, it was so cool seeing it. That was the first time you actually saw something that you made, you saw it land, and you noticed it was doing something, and
Yeah.
that's just a really special. That's also the thing you. That's really hard to explain to someone who's not in music or not in art or not in whatever. Like to see something that you created out of nothing because you felt like it, not because you had to or somebody gave you the assignment to do so, and seeing that become something. You know, like I know, yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Alex Starving Insect made a interesting point.
Yeah. Hold on.
In the chat.
I have to make a call real quick.
No worries.
Because I will second.
No worries. Hey, Alex, by the way. It's okay. You can mute yourself if you want. Hey, Alex, by the way, in the chat. Hey, Jonah as well. Thanks for that message. Appreciate it. Yeah, go on, Greg.
Will Criticas in the chat as well.
Hey, Will. How you doing? Yeah, I remember picking that album up, and it was completely different to everything else. It was when like there was kind of that alternative movement happening with like Rude Awakening and all of that kind of noise.
There's a
was
lot of
happening at
really
the same
interesting,
time.
kind
It was
of,
like
heavy
interesting.
stuff happening, wasn't there?
It was like kind of the start of what we would consider to be industrial now, right? It was the other side and the darker alias of the more mainstream names as well, which was interesting.
Yeah. And there's loads of cool labels banging out stuff, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And they all started popping up.
Jay's just written in the chat, be right back, phone call from my mum. Has Nils just called Jay?
So sorry about that, guys.
That's
No, don't
okay,
worry, it's all
mate.
good, it's all good.
Whatever.
It's all good.
We're live.
Yeah.
It proves we're live, right?
Yeah. I was saying Alex made an interesting point in the chat, Starving Insect.
Yeah.
That how we listen to stuff, like our attention span and things like that, like is very different now than it used to be, right? Early 2000s, when you'd go to a record shop and you would listen to stuff, you were proper listening, like, and now it feels like you kind of like, I do it too. I'm as guilty as anyone, kind of just flick.
Yeah, skip through it.
It used to drive me crazy 20 years ago or whatever when people would do that, and I'd be like, you're not listening, you're not hearing this thing, you're just like kind of no, and it would annoy me. And now I find myself on reflection, it's kind of stuff I'm doing just to kind of get through,
But I think that's
quality control super quick.
That's also a sign of the times, though, right? Like the way that things have become more disposable and our attention spans have become a lot less.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but completely. Like, and also how fast everything changes now. Like how fast, like because of internet, how fast a style just catches on and is gone again. It gets so much accelerated by things like the short attention span of things, like something new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, but what you're saying about how you listen to stuff it's true. I do it too. Like just
yeah. But when the Mindustries album dropped, I think that this is what Alex is referring to. Kind of at that time, people really listened to stuff.
Yeah.
a lot more. You know, you'd kind of go in deep. If someone put a CD out, you would listen to that fucking whole CD. You wouldn't be kind of like, how fast can I skip through this? You know, through these 12 tracks. It was like, you know, you really put the time and effort in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of really interesting stuff happening at that time. Like Joe was just saying as well. You know, kind of felt like the kind of almost the, you know, the next level of industrial.
And industrial
Hardcore,
being
wasn't
really
it? Yeah.
diverse also, like having all these facets, like and everything would just it would it's really interesting. I still feel that way still about industrial, like the how wide it is in terms of style. Industrial is not necessarily slow 140 stuff. It's not 200 BPM stuff. It's not. It can be everything in between. It's just the alternative side of things.
Is everything okay there? Do you need another break? Because I can play some music if you want to deal with something, Nils. I sense.
Oh
that
no,
you're...
it's okay. I'm just checking. I heard some water running and.
Oh fuck! That's not good.
No, but it's 6 already. I think. Yeah, they're working on it, so it's cool.
Okay.
Never mind.
All right. Well, you brought some other choice cuts with you to play with some in stories or some nostalgia attached to them. Should we play another track?
Sure.
Which one would you like to play?
Let's do the Void Sector remix. It's not a big, but it's a fun story about how some tracks. No, just play it first. Let's play it first.
Okay.
It's the Void Sector remix that we did.
All right, let's go. super, super, super cool track. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the story behind that is that this track was really, really big in the free party scene. Not necessarily at the hardcore parties. It wasn't a track that was being played all the time, but it was like a classic, considered a classic in the free party and free rave scene, which Patrick had no idea about. Like he had no, had no idea that this thing was even, So I found out that while listening to the track a lot, that all the elements in the track were cut completely separate, completely clean somewhere in the track. Like even the void sector vocal all the way at the end was clean. So I was like, yeah, I'm just without asking, I'm just going to try and do a remix and just to play around with it. I remember we were talking, I was at the office with Patrick. We were talking about certain tracks, certain hardcore tracks that were always played at free parties. So like, yeah, so about that, it's like, I kind of started working on a remix for Void Sector. And he was like, why? I was like, because I really like this track, Like I really like it. And I found out that all the samples were were clear somewhere in the track. So just started. It's like, oh, interesting. And that turned out into, I think, yeah. And then he was like, oh, okay. So you really like it. Yeah. So I was working on it. And that turned out into it being a whole project with like a double vinyl with like Nosferatu, I think, Outside Agency, he himself, I think Oblivion, like a lot of people did remixes. So it was just kickstarted by just me finding out or me really liking the track and then thinking like, hey, maybe we should work on this, do a remix. I'm still really proud of it. And I remember I always knew that Bart Ketscam was a really big fan of the original. And then I remember Patrick calling me saying that Bart actually called to the office to say like, hey, that Mindustries, yes, that's what I would do with the track. So I felt really like, like it was appreciated. I remember feeling really good about that one.
Yeah, it's quite some artists jumped on that, right? Like you
Yeah.
said.
So Oblivion, Roughneck, Outside Agency.
Did Spiral Tribe get credited for it at all?
No, I don't think so.
Wow.
Also fun, the Void Sector Mindustries remix vocal. I remember when we found out you had the old what was it, Steam thing where you could just type it in and it like when we found that I was like, oh no, we have to do this in the remix. Like it has to.
Yeah.
Because I think it's an Amiga voice, right?
I don't know.
I think it's an old
Spiral Tribe.
yeah, that one. It's the same as Das both, U69 and 96. So as soon as I remember me and Yuri found out about that, it was like, oh, we have to, now we can just make it say anything. So we have to do like, we have to make it say Mindustries remix. Like.
Yeah. Cool.
That's really cool. You brought some other tracks with you that you wanted to play as well. What did you want to play here? I've got a list. You brought a Craftiest Trick because you had a...
Yeah, that for
It's
sure.
nice.
That's all Yuri.
Yeah.
And that was the fun thing about that, I think, was that, when you compile a release, we have like 4 tracks. You think, what should be the A1? What should be the whatever, what should go where? This to us was the B2. Was this the thing that, oh yeah, we also have that track. And I remember as soon as we got to test pressing, all that I wanted to play was that track. And this one really caught on in terms of like some mainstream artists like Angerfist, everyone was playing it. And we totally didn't expect that. We expected the 140 track on the A side to be there. So, yeah, this is just basically I played it at Play Festivals as the last track as well. This is always one of Yuri that I always play and always will play probably. It's a really interesting and people constantly bring it up, this one. And the funny thing is that we completely did not see that coming with the track. But that's also, I think, one of the fun things about making music. Yeah. You can try and control it as much as you want, but it just does what it does, and you have
Once it's out there, yeah.
So this was a big surprise to us.
Craftiest trick. Camouflage is nature's craftiest trick. Craftiest trick. Camouflage is nature's craftiest trick.
I love that track, man.
Yeah, man. I still do too.
Really cool.
Love the breakdown. I started with that at the last Cubase.
Oh, with the breakdown.
I've got
Oh,
an
that's
echo
actually-
from somebody.
Yeah.
I didn't start with the breakdown. I started with the track.
Okay, well, actually, the breakdown kind of works as an intro as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, this was one of those. Yeah, like I said, one of those. Yuri finished it, and then we were like, okay, yeah, it sounds really nice. Let's do the beat too. But as soon as we played it out once, we kept going for that record because it just worked.
Yeah.
But we didn't. We had no idea it would be when he finished it. Like, yeah, okay, let's put it. But yeah, that's what I like about this whole making music thing. You can never. It's full of surprises sometimes in which tracks work or don't work.
Yeah.
Because the other way around also happens when you make a track like this is going to be the one, and nobody talks about it.
Nobody gives a
Right.
fuck.
Yeah. How did it work with the two of you in the studio? Did you both have like kind of different strengths and weaknesses, and did you kind of how did it work collaborating together?
Collaborating together, we didn't do a lot of collaborating. I think on the first album we did, like the very first album, there was a lot of collaborating, and it was, yeah. But back then, I don't think we were that aware of our strengths and our flaws or our weaknesses. We were just basically was just fucking around with music or with sounds, you know.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about this before. Like when you start doing something, it's just like you're just playing. The more you know, the harder it actually gets sometimes to get just that playfulness or that creative thing back. And I think back then we were just playing around with sound. And but I think I always thought Yuri's strengths were Yuri was really good with synths, was better with synths than I was. I was more with kick drums and percussion, like really percussive always. That was always my thing. So I think that's the big difference with us. I think also if you listen to the tracks that we've released, you start looking up like, okay, who did what, then you'll probably recognize that the more synthesizer based or tracks with actual hooks, more catchy were mostly Yuri.
Yeah.
And the more percussive things were mostly me. And that also goes for like with separate tracks, but also within tracks. You would have like I would more focus on also like intros, building intros. That was my thing. So Yuri would make a thing. We would make like the big climax part. It's like, yeah, this needs an introduction. I don't know how to, he's like, I don't know how to introduce this sound, or I feel you would have better ideas with that. So those were mostly the moments that we would pass tracks to each other. Like, hey, this needs more of a hook. He's like, I need to introduce this sound and I have no idea how to do it. Or like, I've tried everything, but I still don't feel like it works. Could you have a look at it?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
I'm getting some issues with YouTube suggesting my bit rate's a bit wrong. I'm wondering if people are getting problems with buffering. It's getting struggling a little bit for some reason. Anyway, let me know in the chat, guys, if you're having any difficulties. I'm curious. I made some changes before the show, so.
Shout out to Mr. Stormtrooper in the chat.
Hey,
So you shit! I just saw him.
Hey, buddy. And
It's been a while, Peter. How you doing?
It reminds me, if people didn't yet, they should go and check out Peter's new thing that he's doing. It's like a podcasty kind of talky thing on
Sex party.
YouTube. It's not sex thing. No, not this time. No, he's covering some difficult topics and discussing some difficult topics within hardcore and within music and trying to dig into them a little bit and share his experience or his knowledge on some certain things. It is in German, but there is English subs on there. And he's covering some very interesting topics. So you should go and take a look at what Peter Stormtrooper's doing because he's doing some good stuff. Respect to Peter.
Cool.
Respect. Okay. Another thing. Oh, there. Vlog, Thoughts of an Old DJ. There we go. That's what it's called.
There we go.
There you go. Also, in the chat, by the way, I've created a goal because we have these new things that we can do now. So if we get 10 blue or higher super chats, we will play a brand new, exclusive, unreleased Dungeons & Dragons track later on. How about that?
Exclusive.
Hold on, I've got one of those. Wait.
Oh, yeah.
I've got one. Hold on. Where is it? Let me. The moment's gone, hasn't it?
There we go.
Exclusive.
DelayedAirhorns.com.
Yeah, I'm a DJ, by the way. Just saying. Right.
DJ Delayed Air Horn.
DJ Delay.
Careless air horn.
So also on that release is another track that you brought with you, and that's Therapy.
Yeah. That was probably, I think, everyone's favorite. That was everyone's favorite from like the colleagues and all of like our friends. Everyone would always refer to Therapy. This is also all Yuri. And this is actually, side story, this is the one that's also been played at his service.
Okay. Well, I'll play it immediately.
Yeah, let's play it.
What a beautiful
Yeah,
track.
man, I remember that this track is has has gotten a lot of extra baggage ever since he passed, because this has been a track everyone's been referring to. It's weird. I always had a special thing with this track. I remember him sending me this. I was like, dude, the fuck, you know, like it was really, I was getting really happy with like, dude, yeah, you fucking nailed it, you know. And that was also our, let's do this needs to be the A1. But ever since his passing, everyone's been referencing this track. Like also a couple of days after his passing, like the YouTube or Facebook was flooded with people just posting this one. So it's become pretty connected to also that part. And I remember that's also actually a very nice story about how you can feel supported by someone. Richard Drox sent me some messages after your service, like, hey, how was the service? How are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. What was the track that was played? It was like, yeah, that was Therapy. He said, could you send it to me? Because I'm closing Decibel and I want to close with this track. And he actually closed with this one, his set, and pulled me on stage and everything. And we just opened some beers on stage and just remembered him, you know. And there was also that Decibel was the first set that I actually had to play solo. But when people knew I was going to play it solo, because DEFCON was the big surprise, of course. So yeah, this track has become even more special now. So that's why I brought it. Actually, it's like, yeah, this one needs to be. If there's one track that needs to be on the show, it's this one.
Yeah, beautiful, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
So
it's one of the.
Yeah.
It's obviously very, very sad that he's gone, but it's so beautiful to still have the memories in music to be able to.
Oh,
play
for sure.
back.
It's a legacy, right? It's,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
just the stuff you leave behind, isn't it? That people, you know, that people connect to,
and also on a personal note, the fact that I got to experience some stuff, like a lot of first times, like first time playing it, on the first time seeing your record, releasing a record, first, you know. Of course, after that, I did, you know, you see, you do another project, and you see that come to fruition or whatever. But that the first time that you actually, dude. Like, remember we bought tickets to Thunderdome? We would like, you know, like be excited about that for weeks, you know. And now we're playing, you know, like stuff like that. having those experiences and being able to share that with someone, and it not just be a singular, like a solo experience, but actually having experienced that with him is something really amazing. So and it all came from this music. So it's, like you said, it's a legacy. It's something you've built together, and it's really cool to have the. It's really cool, and sometimes, of course, really weird and really hard sometimes. But to have that part of it, the start of it all, having experienced that with someone, and being able to share that experience, because I've talked to a lot of solo artists as well. Also say like, yeah, sometimes it's hard to explain to someone who's not like, yeah, how was the gig? Yeah, it was fun, but how do you explain that? You know, how playing your own music and seeing people react to it if you're not into that. And I remember, man, first time Yuri and I played Thunderdome main room, it was 2006, and we would walk off stage and just look at each other and be like, "The fuck
What just happened?
What the fuck did we just do?" You know?
Yeah.
And being able to share that with someone has always been a joy. You know, to be actually just look beside you and having someone there who experienced the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like, what was that? You know?
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So yeah, good stuff.
So, how are you finding moving forward with this project now? How has it been in the last, you know, since I think it was September that it was announced that you will continue solo doing this? How is it? How has it been, and what's it felt like getting this new release over the line?
Well, there's a story to tell there too. Because Mindustries was, of course, kind of on a halt for a while. Because both of us weren't feeling that inspired. I had the Ghost Machine thing going. My mind was like more in that space. But we would still try and like open up old sketches and try and work on something, and he would try and work on something, but it just wasn't inspired, you know. Just your mind's not there yet, or wasn't in that place at the time. And I remember there was a time where I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this another try, you know. So I just opened all these old projects, and I made some renders, just made some MP3s for in the car. And all of a sudden, it kind of like hit me, you know? All of a sudden, I was like, the mind space was there. Just you're in that mood again for some reason. I was in the car and I remember like, oh, but this just needs to be twice as long, and this just needs to be moved up to the front. And like, hey, it's actually all there. You know,
Just
with
a quick moment of clarity when everything just clicks, right?
And it usually happens when you're like, the car for me is perfect for listening or checking out tunes because your eyes are on the road. And as soon as anything distracts me from that, something's not right.
Yeah.
But if a track, especially when it comes to like arrangement and structure of a track, if I'm just driving and it feels like it's flowing and nothing pulls me away from just me being on the road, but as soon as I go like, huh? Like something, so okay, there's something needs to be fixed there, because you're not fully listening, but you're it's the car's a weird space when it comes to that for checking tracks. It's I hear a lot of people who get their epiphanies in the car while driving.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden it's like, it suddenly hits. Probably
That's what I
because
need
your
to do.
mind is just in a certain. It's not a hyper focus, but it's just.
It's because you're not being distracted by anything that's pulling you left and right. It's like
You don't see the
you
track.
You have to focus there, and then your brain can kind of do other things, right? And think. Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I had this moment. I remember, like, but that just needs to be twice long. This needs to be to the front. This is actually kind of there. And then, this just more highs there. Or that kick drum needs to be replaced, whatever. But all of a sudden, with like a couple of tracks, like 6 or 7, it just hit. So I finished them, and I played them to Yuri. He was like, "Hey, awesome, cool." And I remember he felt a little pressure also to be able to finish something. So he just called me every now and then. Yeah, I'll upload something soon. It's like, hey, that doesn't, we've never been like this. It's always been like whoever had something finished, we just release it. Yeah. So I decided to call him, to give him a call, and that turned out to be, or ended up to be, the last talk that we had, which was a really nice call. It ended up like a 2.5 hour conversation about. Well, it started out like, hey, dude, don't bother. I have these things finished. What are we going to do with them? What do you feel comfortable with? What do I feel comfortable with? We're going to just release these, or do you want me to wait? Or do what are we going to do with it? Basically, we kind of made the whole plan about, no, just release it. Just go. Let's go for it. And that turned into a conversation about family and friends and everything things we were going through in life, and just a really, actually, in hindsight, a really nice final talk. I just didn't know it back then, but it was and we basically ticked all the boxes when it came to like what we're going to do. What are we going to do with this project? So coming back to the question, like, how does it feel now? That talk really helped in terms of it really feels like I'm just checking off the list of all the things we talked about right now. So there's a practical side to this, which is really weird, which is taking new press shots by yourself. Every time I'm posting something, I'm still really used to typing "we're playing" instead of "I'm playing," stuff like that, because I've been typing "we're playing" for 20 years. Yeah. Well, not 20, but you know what I mean. Social media wasn't around back then, so we didn't post it. We didn't post about it. But so that side of it is weird. The other side, the side of it in terms of like releasing music, and I'm actually feeling really good about, because it also feels like a way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
Putting it into something positive instead of just sitting here bitching and moaning or crying about it. It's like, no, let's put this thing to work and make this one count. So in terms of that, it really helps to have had that talk with him, because we basically, like, every time I do something, and I was like, no, we talked about this, let's go. And then seeing the response to this so far on the new EP has been really good. And really makes me makes me happy. It's like, yeah, man, let's do this also in his name, but also just keep the name high, keep his name high, and this just crush it, try and kill it.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that, Nils, about whether it's been almost like a form of like dealing with the grief and the and healing and stuff and moving through that stuff by creating something that is part of what he was you're taking his role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, for both of you and moving that forward. That must feel quite unique in some ways, I guess.
I'm actually pretty grateful for having something to put it into. That's it's a weird sentence. No, but to
it makes sense because some people don't have that at all.
To have a project to work on. And also that the fact that it's music, there's no rules, no nothing. I can honor him the way that I want to, you know. Yeah. And strengthen this Mindustries thing in his name or whatever. It feels really I'm really grateful for having this project and actually having that talk with you about continuing this, because I think it would have been different, not that I wouldn't release these tracks, but I would have felt different about it if we hadn't had this talk and hadn't talked it over, you know. Because it was a really nice talk about basically everything, and also like a lot of reflecting and hindsight, or a lot of reflecting and looking back on the things that we did, and and moving forward, because he was also pretty. He really felt like no, we should, you know, let's release some more music and let's give this another go, because he also believed in it. So So I still have some old sketches of his, also some stems. So I'm working on them. Started working on them right now. Yeah. But I want to take the time for that. It's not something I want to set a deadline for, or want to rush, or in any way. That's not how this. No, that will go as it goes. Yeah. Because I have no idea what I'm gonna. You know what I want to do with it or whatever, but I don't want to set a deadline or rush things or whatever. This needs to.
Don't need to, man. Yep.
There's no need to, and this needs to be done properly.
20 years deep, bro. There's really no rush now, right?
No, it's true. No, but it kind of feels like, in terms of, but that's also a thing, right? The momentum thing. You really want to keep it going now. But when it comes to his old sketches, it's like, no, I'm going to take my time. When it comes to my music, I'm going to, you know, or it's still going to be our music. That's also so stupid. Like talking about it's never been about me. It's never been me. It's always been us. So I still, this is the practical side of things that, also with like I said, with the press pictures and everything, I'm making things right for the outside world that aren't right for me at all right now. But again, this is all part of moving on, and we talked about moving on. So also, in that way, I also, I'm able to push myself. Like, no, we talked about this. We were, you know, it's just going to be a bit different than what we talked about. But no, taking these press shots and blah blah and doing this is all part of it, of you know, moving on with this project. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, Greg, it definitely plays an important role in with the grief and dealing with it, or giving it a place. You're literally giving it a place.
Processing your path through it, isn't it? Yeah.
So, but it's interesting. It gets a whole new layer all of a sudden. Yeah. And sometimes it kind of sneaks up on you also when you play something and it gets a response like, you know, I did this for him, or blah blah. And it hits you at really weird times. But it's I think in the end it's a beautiful thing. I mean, yes, it feels good to how do you know, to make sure he's remembered because of music, and to keep that, you know, connection still real, and continuing this in his name. Yeah, so,
honoring his memory and his legacy, and keeping that alive, aren't you? So yeah, it's very cool. Very cool. Props, man.
Let's play some music from the new release.
Yeah, let's do it.
I've put them in BPM order because it was a logical order, but I'm happy to play them in whatever order you'd like, Nils. So please tell me.
No, let's start with Memory Lane, because that's probably the slowest one, I think, right? If you put it in
140,
yeah.
I think this is my favorite track on the EP, actually. Nice. This is my favorite. This one.
A lot of people came up to me about this track, and I didn't expect it to be. To be, there's a lot of people pick this as a favorite, which I did not expect. Again, one of those surprises.
Let's go.
Hey, you know, everybody's talking about the good old days, right? Everybody, the good old days, the good old days. Well, let's talk about the good old days. Hey, you know, everybody's talking about the good old days, right? Everybody, the good old days, the good old days. Well, let's talk about the good old days. Try to remember.
Love this one. Really reminds me of like that old fix style. That's exactly what it reminds me of. And first time he played it to me, I just fell in love with it. It's self-explanatory, right? It's called Memory Lane. It's like literally the idea of it, but you brought it back.
Well, yeah, and I think that's something that I'm trying to do more now. I think just trying to some sounds back that really influenced us back in the day. And you mentioning Fix records, I remember when I sent it to you.
Yeah,
was just like there was literally a Fix record on my on one of the players when you mentioned that. That label was a big influence on us.
Yeah, man.
Like
Some of the
darker,
tracks on
like,
that.
they were always like slow, dark, but like.
Well, in the UK,
super
they actually people used to play them on
UK
45.
-8.
Yes.
because UK.
Yes, dude, totally. Just the way I played some. I think there was like one or two Rebel Scums that I would play at 33.
How the tables have turned.
No, man, it's like.
Wicked. Really, really good one. I guess we can just dive straight into the next one, right? The Flames I've got here.
Yeah.
Since we're on a roll.
do it.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Let's do it.
Is this true? You refuse to worship? Then you shall be thrown into the furnace. And no God will save you from my hand. Bind them and cast them into the fire. Then you shall be thrown into the furnace, and no God will save you from my hand. Let the furnace be heated sevenfold. Enough! Cast them into the fire!
Another banger, Nils.
Yep.
Thank
I think
you.
somebody wrote in the chat, completely unapologetic.
What?
I said somebody wrote in the chat, completely unapologetic, like just doing it. It's like it's almost like a style that's been forgotten about. Like this,
Well,
you know.
Thank you. That's why it's
Yeah.
called deleted scenes as well. The
Yeah.
release.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, there's certain scenes and there's certain that kind of that darkcore, that whole term, like the idea that was what this was about to me. You know,
Yeah.
like making just not necessarily super industrial, super distorted, but just dark. And I kind of like there's a certain period of time where tracks where it could be like dirty, dark, and still like catchy and party.
Yeah.
Like without having to be super complex, but it was still like, you know, but you get that bass phase. It was catchy, but it was mature. It was, I don't know, it's a combination of things. It was dark, atmospheric, and there was room for all of it. And I kind of want to see especially with Mindustries, to really go back to that. Just make whatever would make it, I don't know. It's still dance floor music, catchy, but
Yeah. I like those big clonky kicks. Clonk, clonk, clonk. Like
yeah, the ones that
it's just clonkers, mate. Love them.
Long.
And it doesn't need much else. It just needs a catchy little riff with it, or just something.
Yeah.
Just to carry it and just clonk me, boy, clonk me.
Clonk me, baby.
Clonk me.
Clonk me, baby.
Clonk the shit out of me.
No, but I mean, there really was a time where it was about the kick drum and just some really just a nasty stab sound, whatever, some nice samples, but it was enough. It didn't there was no need of dressing it up or whatever. It was just, really, it was just what was necessary and what works. It's hard to explain. I don't know. There's the only thing I say, there's a certain style that I really miss.
Yeah,
it's kind of an in-between thing. And I'm really trying to get back to that, like give some winks to the past and some little throwbacks here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on a couple of tracks right now, and the new EP is almost finished, basically. And there's also some really some Easter eggs in there, or some, I don't know if you can call them Easter eggs. They're pretty obvious, but they're little winks, like little kick drum loops that remind me of some old records.
Has it got clonks?
It's clonked out.
It's a clonk fest.
Exactly. Yeah, clonk the shit, man.
Awesome.
The shit out of it.
Demanufacturer's written in the chat, clonk me mommy.
Yeah, mother clunker. Yeah,
exactly. Wicked, man.
Hey,
all right.
When it gets clunk, the clunk get going,
no,
right?
I'm going to play a track so we stop.
Yeah,
Right.
let's do it.
Now, this one, I know there's a story behind this, and I don't know if you're going to tell it, but let's listen to it. Let's go.
Let's listen to it, sure.
Right, come on then, Nils. There's an agenda here. There's a theme throughout this one.
Little chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a message behind this. Definitely, you're right. I was kind of disagreeing with how certain things were being done in the. Well, there was a couple of things happening all at once. I think there was a thing with an agent that did something that I really didn't like. There were several projects being launched where it was like, hey, this is not. I don't know if he's making music, or I don't know if you know. There's a lot of things going on where it's like I was just angry about it. I was pissed off. This is during COVID as well, so I wasn't in a good mood. And I kind of allowed myself to make a gimmicky track. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna grab all like Roxanne Shante, Linkway, all Juice Crew shit, like all the old battle rap stuff. Grab some bitch samples and just make really like an expressive track. And basically the title, why I called it Take It Personal, was like, if you think it's about you, it probably is. If you feel like this could be about you, then
Then good, then fuck you. Right? Somebody's written in the chat, is this Message of a Bottle part 2?
It is kind of, I get the question. Let's put it like that. It's not necessarily a Message in a Bottle part 2, but it's also not. Wait, this is it's Message in a Bottle was the first time that I made a track that I actually always wanted to make but never did. Because I'm a huge hip hop head, like always listen to hip hop, battle rap. I love the whole attitude, which is kind of what I love in metal, which is what I love in hardcore. The attitude is the same thing. We talked about this, I think, before on a previous episode, that all these old hardcore heads, before there was hardcore, they would either listen to hip hop, metal, or you know, something else like extreme, because they needed that kind of energy, that kind of fuck you put to music attitude. And I always liked that. I was a huge hip hop head, but you know, Promo, Depression, all these guys would use like old battle rap samples, and they did that already. So I was like, and with Mindustries we had a slightly different style, less vocals, less stuff like that. So, but I always kind of wanted to make that track, you know, like it always was kind of itchy, because I always knew every time I heard, I know exactly which samples I would use, but kind of never did. And I remember then came Ghost of the Machine, the project, which went on doing way better than we expected. And then on the hardcore side of things, then the whole up-tempo thing became like looking around, which, I mean, I get the whole movement, and there's things that I really like about the phenomenon itself, but the music itself didn't do it for me. And because Ghost of the Machine was going this way, I got kind of like more like a attitude towards hardcore, which is actually the attitude you need to make nice hardcore.
Right? Yeah.
Like for some reason. And that's when I made, then Sebastian Promo asked me to do something for the compilation, the Breaking the Man the Barricades, it was called, I think.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I always had this idea of Message in a Bottle. Like, what's the perfect message in a bottle? That's like a Molotov cocktail, right? That's the message in a bottle. Like, burn it all down. So that's when I made that track, and it felt so good making that track that it did. So Message in a Bottle, in a way, did trigger the fact that, hey, I really like making tracks like this. I just never did. So in that way, you can kind of see it as a part 2, because the Message in a Bottle was the thing that kickstarted the need to maybe make another one. Also seeing the response to that and see that people actually liked it, and I really liked it, and I still love playing it. I played it last week again, and it's, you know, it still works, and it definitely is one of those tracks that I wanted to make. So in those terms, it's like, yeah, it could be seen as a part 2. And when we look at it like that, I'm working on a part 3 right now.
Nice. Yeah, you did a great job with the vocal processing in that. It all fits. It's all really balanced. Good job, man.
Thank you. Yeah,
really
thanks, man. That took a while.
Yeah, I bet.
Because I'm not super experienced with working with vocals. And then to have all these different MCs and then put distortion on them, and then for also all these different sources. Like
Yeah.
some were sampled from vinyl, some were later or then trying to replace them because we now have like great vocal remover software and stuff like that. So then you try to, maybe I could now redo this, and that turned out not working because it actually sounded better just having the grungy because of the vibe of the whole track. It's basically the same thing with the transients that we talked about.
Yep.
You're trying to make it fit, and it's like, no, this is too clean. It needs to be more distorted, so it has to fit. This track is really
totally.
dirty, so the vocals need to be kept dirty. I don't need to polish this up. But thanks for noticing the vocal processing work, because it's a lot of work to make it all fit.
Can imagine.
But I had to make this one because it was just this is also what we're talking about. You allow yourself to make more of a gimmicky track, if you can call it that. And it basically the whole writing project just wrote itself. It was like, I know another sample, and like I need another bitch sample, or I need another
I need more hoes. I need more
I need another
hoes.
sellout sample. I need another fake samples. Like,
Some more bitches.
I need to make some.
and then it's like, of course, don't you have to? And that's I had to use the "There's Some Horse in This House" sample once. There's all these little things that you actually like in the back of your mind always wanted to do. I just put it in this track,
Nice.
and it was a lot of fun.
Wicked, man. All right, let's move on to the last track on the release. A shout out to Gemma, who's just arrived in the chat. Nice mix, by the way. Gemma put a new mix up the other day, and I really fucking enjoyed it. Big up, Gemma. Nice one. Cool. Nice one. All right, next track. Mindustries Dominate. Let's go. That come on sample was never gonna get old. It's always gonna get me. Every fucking time. Every fucking time.
Come on!
Exactly. Fucking ace, man. Ace. Demanufacturer saying that alarm sound, is it a vocal?
No. In the breakdown.
I guess that's what he means, yeah.
No, it's not a vocal. No, that's actually just a siren. It's a siren sample. However, the after the breakdown, the kick drum has that pull, 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 like more like a tonal sound in it.
Yep.
That is a vocal.
That's the vocal, yeah.
It's pitched in different, and it kind of worked. It kind of completely blended in with the kick drum.
Yeah, it helped it carry the track as well. It's like it really gives it energy to drag it out. Yeah, it's nice. Hey, Butterfist, chat, what's up? Sorry, Nils.
No, that's okay.
So tell us about the making of that one. That's the fastest one on the release by quite a margin, actually. A bit out of character for you.
That's actually true. It's the fastest track I've ever made. I've ever produced. I think Mindustries ever produced. I think before that was always 175. I think changed everything. The first Prospect release was 175. And I think on the Minds in Motion album, we had 2 tracks that 175, but we never went above that. It actually started because I made the kick drum, and this was usually that's also a thing. Like I think, Greg probably knows what I mean. Like sometimes your kick drums just demand a certain tempo. Just the way you
yes.
Yeah, right.
Definitely.
Like if a kick drum is like, I as soon as I go over this BPM or under, it sounds forced or it sounds too slow or it doesn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
And with Mindustries, with both of us, me and Yuri, always the kick drums that we would make they need that space of like a 140 and 150 track, like in between space.
They need to clonk, right? They need to be able to clonk.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, back to clonks. Very good. Nice segue. No, no, but no, exactly. The tail kind of has a drive to it, so it kind of needs that. And as soon as you shorten that, it sounds forced, or the low end just doesn't get to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
With our kick drums, always the low end was always in the tail, not so much in the punch itself. And this one I was just toying around with it. I made the kick drum, and it was toying around with just the BPM and just the kick drums. Like, hey, this one actually works really well at 180. Was I had this sweet spot at 180. Like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's try doing try and do a 180 track. And it turned out to be a really like a fun one. And with this one also, I really tried to keep it like simple and just really effective. And just I'm really content with it. I could dress this up as much as I want, but this is the core thing about what it's about. And it really enjoyed it, and I'm actually working on a couple of more like faster tracks now.
Ooh.
We've always had that with the albums. I think you always wanted to we wanted to keep it interesting for ourselves. So you always wanted to keep a couple of fast ones, a couple of slow ones. Just keep the spectrum wide, keep the range wide.
Yeah. Usually what happens when you make a track at like 180, Manu will come up to you and ask you to make it. Can you make a version of 150 for me, please?
Yes.
He's done to me a couple of times. Love that track, but can you just make it at like 140 or 150?
Yeah.
Not quite how it works, Manu, but yeah.
But that's you would almost do it for him, right?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, if that means you'll play it, here you go.
Well, so the release is wicked, Nils.
Yeah, man.
Honestly,
Thank you so
should
much.
be really proud. Let me just show it off here, because the artwork is also sublime, done by yourself, of course. And it's available now over at Prospect. I'll put a link in the chat. People, if they want to go and buy it.
Or 2.
Yeah. You're 2 or 3 or all of the rest of them. But you did a really good job.
It's always Christmas somewhere.
Exactly. And you should be proud of yourself, man. You should be proud of yourself.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I am, and I'm really glad that it's out, because up until then, it was, of course, it's a struggle, you know, like especially like I talked about before, like those moments right before you have a release. Usually, you bounce ideas back and forth, or you bounce artwork back and forth, track order, all these things. You know, you go over everything, and that was all me, which sounds nice, but when you're always used to discussing things, you know, it sounds nice to be like, hey, I'm in control of this. But it was actually pretty hard to. It's always nice to have someone next to you who's like, no, maybe, or give some input. So luckily, of course, you have your colleagues and you have your friends. But it was kind of a struggle to get to this point. And of course, the first time getting to this point by yourself it's just weird. And now that it's out and seeing the response, really, sorry. Oh, it's not you, it's me. And now that it's out, it really kickstarted this, and seeing the response, it really kickstarted this new, like, urge to work on this, you know. And also seeing that there's still, even though that's not really the most important part, but seeing that there's still a place for stuff like this, you know.
Yeah.
Seeing that it's being well received and people are actually excited about it. It's like, hey, this is, you know, it really kickstarts this new enthusiasm of like, oh, I need to finish the other ones. And so I'm really happy that it's out. And I'm really enjoying the feedback on it. And seeing people already, like, for instance, last week at Play Festival, that was the day of the release. And like 4 people showed up with the record for me to sign it. Like that's... seeing that kind of support really helps to move all of this along and create some good feeling surrounding this project.
Yeah, I think now more than ever, you know, there's such a wealth of music to look back on over the last 30 years or whatever, or longer, you know, of hardcore and stuff.
Yeah,
and you know, we whether it's like 90s or millennial or kind of like, you know, 2010, they've all got their own kind of little styles and their own kind of different vibes and stuff like that. And to respect all of those years and to kind of bring that stuff and do almost like a modern twist on it, I think is really nice. And it kind of shows a lot of respect for the music. And people just, they still really like that old vibe and stuff, and they want to hear it, like they want to hear it again and hear it fit into a kind of like modern context, I think. Well, I think, more of this, man.
Thanks. So, what you're describing now is, I think this is you're describing it better than I tried to, but that's exactly what I want to do. Like, show that there's still that old sound, or that it's not even old, but that specific, you know,
you
know, that specific sound or specific styles, that there's so much to still do with that, or incorporated something that sounds current, or that could go, you know, that fits in between that, or I don't know, there's a spot for it still, I think. And I'm noticing that also with playing sets now, the people also willing to take we're talking about attention span, and now people just want, you know, you see it in tech, you see it happening in techno, you see it happening in hardcore, that people just want drops and just, you know. And I see more and more. I see kids willing to take the time to just show up at your set, and as soon as they notice, like, oh, he's working towards something. Oh, let's see where this goes. Instead of, hey, this is not hitting within 5 minutes, and this just goes somewhere else. And I'm also seeing more of that. So I see a lot of people are interested in like other sounds and see, let's see where this goes. Yeah, I saw at the Play Festival as well. People would necessarily not necessarily be at my set, but just walk by and be like, hey, oh, interesting. Oh, I kind of like, oh, wait. Oh, let's see what this is, you know? Yeah. And let's see curiosity come again, instead of like, hey, this doesn't sound like what I'm used to. Let's go somewhere else. So, and I'm also thinking about like giving doing some little history lessons, like recording a set, which is like old industrial, old French stuff. Like, just where all this comes from, because there's a whole new generation who has no idea where all of us come from, or where we got inspired. Let's see if we can like incorporate that, like put a set online, or do something like, hey, this is where we got our inspiration from, or what kickstarted this project, or what.
Yeah, really cool.
Wicked, man.
Like I was saying, the 2001 period was so influential to me and Yuri, to both of us. Like old Armageddon project. That, like, I think. what was the year when Luke did the Journey of Force track? Also around 2001, I think.
2004, 5?
Four.
Was it 4?
Yeah, I think it was
Something like that. Yeah, I mean,
2004,
yeah, you can fact check it, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Well,
Yeah.
with stuff, and also the stuff Manu is re-releasing now, by the way. Shout out to Manu for like the Dark Ages remix and stuff like that he did for Double Face. All those, like that style, that was so Cat Scan. Like, let's not forget him talking about timeless, like sustainable shit that I still play in my sets and still fucking works.
2002, by the way.
What? Junior Force?
Junior Force, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that whole time was so influential to a lot of people, but me and Yuri as well. Like that was that really got our enthusiasm back on making like, oh, this is the type of hardcore that we like. Like it's super diverse, it's dark, it's different. It's like but also again, it's catchy and it makes me want to dance, it makes me want to, make that beast in your belly want to jump up and be like, like that.
Put some dips in the hips.
Yeah. So, I wanted to see if I can just also maybe do some throwbacks to that time.
Yeah.
Do it, man. You should definitely
Which
do
is
that.
already like 23 years ago or something. It's just crazy to think about.
Yeah. I've been doing tons of remixes actually for just like taking all my old favorite tracks and just remixing. I've done a whole bunch of them, like Mind of a Lunatic and Bioforge and all sorts of kind of like
Turbulence
and exactly, Turbulence,
yeah, fucking amazing.
I'm gonna like do a whole set at Jeff Con of like kind of remixed classics, like a whole set of it that I've just pulled together, all sorts of tracks. So that's gonna be kind of fun. But that whole
I'm sorry. Drastic's really stuck a knife in you there. He's like, and then never released them.
Fact. Yeah.
Well, we can dance on them at Jeff Con though. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's a couple of special ones I've not mentioned, but there is a couple of special ones there that I'm going to play.
Nice.
As well.
Oh, awesome.
So, how are you doing that then? Spectral layers.
What do you mean?
Separate, like you separating the elements and using parts, or you just getting like the famous bits and remaking them
all sorts of stuff. So interestingly, like Nils said, right? So I did Strychnine Utopia Project, which was one of my favorite industrial strengths. I love that tune, man. And I went, I got some of the samples clean. Some of them I did some kind of stem, cleaning on, AI stuff, and it got some of the synths out clean, some spectral layers and stuff like that as well. But then the samples, the famous lawnmower samples, Man samples.
Lawnmower Man, yeah.
Found them clean, and I put them through. Audio stuck. My video stuck.
No, you're back. You're back.
You're back.
Okay. So I put all the Lawnmower Man samples through Ultimate Vocal Remover and pulled all the background noise out, so you get the vocals super clean.
Yeah.
And then when I put it back into the track, it sounded too clean. I was like, what the fuck? And then I realized that some of the track that I knew that I'd heard so many times was actually some of the background music from Lawnmower Man. It wasn't actually it wasn't a synth or an atmosphere or a layer. It was just like a distorted background noise from the movie, how they'd sampled it at a low bit rate and distorted it. I was like, wow. So just doing it clean didn't really do it justice. It felt.
It's bizarre, right? How something that you think like, oh, I finally can get it clean, and it doesn't work.
It's too it's
too clean.
Weirdly clinical, yeah. So I had to put some like kind of texture back in there, some noise, just to kind of make it feel a bit like
gritty
yeah. But it's crazy, man. With all the tools you got now, with all the kind of being able to separate all the stems and doing spectral, repairs, RX stuff or whatever it is. It's crazy what you can do now, and all the ultimate, vocal remover stuff.
That thing that blew my mind, man. When I started working, like a friend of mine also was like, okay, let's put it to the test. And he got me some old punk records, like really badly, horribly mixed punk records. And he's like, let's see if we can get the vocals out of this. I was like, okay, let's see, give it. Like within 2 minutes, like four records, all the vocals. And he's like, nah, you're shitting me. He's like, yeah.
Wild, man. It is wild. And then you can use all those acapellas to train an AI model, and then you've got your own fucking whatever, Jello Biafra or whatever. Just, you know what I mean? You can tell him what to say. Crazy shit,
That's
man.
insane,
What a
man. You were talking about
crazy
this,
time to be alive.
we were talking about this when we were driving to Groningen together. About what you can basically create your own. Like, hey, I like Roxanne Shante. Like, I'm gonna have my own soon.
Yeah. Roxanne in a pocket.
Yeah. Sharp as a pocket knife, right? No.
Indeed, sharp as a razor.
Yeah,
But it's
sharp as
you can. It's crazy. What a, you got access to all this stuff now. So yeah, let's see where it all goes. Crazy.
I'm so interested, especially in terms of music, where it will go. Like if it would actually replace something, or just add something, or it's probably going to go.
I think it was fairly safe at the moment with the kind of Suno thing. You know Suno, that did like the app that basically just makes instant songs for you. It doesn't really do breakcore and hardcore very well. It does some kind of like 90s gabba, but still, when it gets to the point where you can literally generate,
we got some pretty cool stuff out of it.
You totally can.
Breakcore stuff, but you have to. It's all about the prompt, right? It's all about making sure that it's not doing certain things. That was the main thing that we got when we were playing with it the other day. Was that you have to be specific about what you don't want it to do, and then force it down a path of what you actually want it to do. It's kind of a
But,
about the prompt,
but
right?
the technology is crazy. It's there. You can use it however you want to use it, and there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. But the flip side is that it's fucking really scary as well. When you think about where it could take us. So, yeah.
Well, the misuse or abuse of it is a scary thing.
Mm-hmm.
And people are pretty prone to do that. So
totally.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Nils, thank you so much for coming on and talking so openly
Anytime, my guys.
about
I always love
everything.
talking to you. I was a bit tired today, so a bit off maybe, but I really enjoy talking to you guys always. So
always, there's never a dull moment. Well, you really
pleasure.
opened up, and you you dug deep, and you didn't have to sit in here on the internet and open your bag and let people in about all that stuff. So
no, but people had
it's nice.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I must say I was kind of nervous about that part of it, the Yuri part, because I'm used to talking about this to friends, and then you spill all the beans, blah blah blah. Friends that knew him, so there's certain things things you say, things you don't say. But I've never talked about this like on air, and especially live on air.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was like, okay, that's going to be the part of the show where I kind of have to think and think about what I say or what, also keep it respectful and everything. And,
of course.
So, like I said, like I never talked about this in this way, like on air live, but I thought, if anywhere I should do it here.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Nils. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
It's a really, really important part of everyone has to deal with grief, right? With kind of loss of loved ones and stuff. We all do, right? And how you process it, how you move through it is by talking about it, is by kind of having these conversations, is making it more real, genuine.
More real,
I saw this conversation between talking about dealing with grief, which I thought was really interesting. I think it was Anderson Cooper and Stephen Colbert who were talking about grief, because they've both had like huge losses as at a very young age. And then Colbert said something about grief, which I really like, about being grateful for life, or being for being alive. So you also learn to be grateful for the things you wish that hadn't happened. And it's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, because I experienced grief, I can now understand other people's pain, which gets me more connection with another human being, which gets me to be the most human that I can be. Yeah. So, and I'm grateful for being that. So you can cherry pick. If you're grateful for life, you have to be grateful for all of it. So I learned to be grateful for the things that I wish hadn't happened, because it also gave me something, stuff like that. Yeah. It's a really interesting conversation about grief, and I've been going back to that one, especially also in these times. And but taking something from it, like it's basically what I was talking about, the people coming up to you, telling you stories about how they experience your music, but it's something you get back from that. It's a certain realization that comes with like heavy experiences in life. We're all creatures of habit. We all just do what we do. We go on about our day. We don't, you don't take enough time to stand still and be grateful for something, or be, look at it from a different perspective, blah, 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 until something heavy happens usually.
Yeah.
We need to get shook to realize something, like a ball won't bounce till it hits the ground. It's basically that, it's just, you just go, and then suddenly something really happy that really shakes you out of all your habits and all your things, and then you're like, oh wait, oh fuck. And sadly, we need those sometimes to realize to realize things, to get to those realizations.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
But yeah, this was one of them, especially. But yeah, I'm super grateful to. Well, thank you for having me, and again, I'm super I want everyone who's watching, who's been supporting the release. I really want to thank them because it means a lot. Because it was a pretty big step, setting this, getting this thing back on the road, and then
you deserve it, man.
Thank you, man. But seeing the response and seeing this, it really it's heartwarming. It's nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Let's move on. Everybody laughing at me in the chat for my random clap. I was killing a mosquito. I'm not fucking retarded.
Very inappropriate timing, Joe. Yeah.
It was, mate. It was right in front of my face. Fucking hell.
Nils was having the right moment, and you start clapping.
Yeah. Good job, Nils. Good job. Yeah, fucking no. There was a mosquito there, and it was driving me crazy. And I had fucking
inappropriate Joe.
It was in the fucking sights. I had to get it, man. Right.
Did you get it? You better.
Yeah, I got it. Right. So next up, we've got What's Hot. Let's go.
What's hot?
Woo. First up on What's Hot, we have got Alias of Igor Merg in the Darkness. Let's go. And hey, thanks for the super from Sandblaster. Respect.
In the darkness we breathe.
Nice stuff there. Double track release by Merg, which is an alias of Igor that's out on Broken Strain, sub-label of the Third Movement. I've put a link to that in the chat. Next up, new Black Box from Ophidian. Let's go.
getting dark. It's getting dark.
Absolutely god tier stuff from Ophidian again. This is the latest Black Box series. Those of you who have been in this for a while remember the first Black Box series. I think there is 4 parts to this one and a double vinyl coming. There's a link in the chat. Do not miss out on that, guys. Absolute weapon. Next up, Noise 12 with Implosion.
Echoes of dreams collide at the seams. Two worlds in chaos, a dance of fate. Time bends and warps, where holy waits. Implosion brewing in the hearts of men. What rises from ashes, can it start again? Invisible lines drawn in the sand. We find a way to truly stand.
dance of fate.
Time bends and warps, where holy waits.
Implosion brewing in the hearts of men.
really nice, really nice stuff there on Noise 12. It's always a bit of a mystery who's behind each of these tracks, but that's really cool. Nonetheless, there's a link there in the chat to go and get amongst it. Next up, we've got Mad Dog with Mind Vision.
This one's designed to open your mind.
I believe EP with a lot of cool hardcore-esque techno and alternative stuff to the day. There's also a short movie that he released that accompanies that, really worth checking out. That's out on Dogfight Records, his imprint, and you should go and check it out. Next up, I'm going to switch it up with a bit of drum and bass, his Counter-Strike with Just a Fucking Dream.
It's just a fucking dream.
Justin Counter-Strike dropping a 4-track EP of absolute weapons grade drum and bass. Forthcoming on Prospect. Don't have a release date. No idea. It landed in my mailbox today, so there you go. Next up, we've got something from Greg, actually. Hey, Greg. Whoa! Just dropped an extra beat there. So, Greg, we got something from you to play. A little exclusive, right?
It's not just me. Yeah, it's me and Steph.
Yeah.
As Dungeon Dragons doing a remix of Will Critica for his forthcoming EP on Prospect, which is out, I think, at the end of this month.
Okay.
3 tracks, 2 by him, and one is our remix of one of the tracks on there, Infinite Nothingness. So Will was in the chat earlier.
He's there
so
now.
Big shout out if he's still. Is he? Awesome.
Yeah, man.
So
What's up,
yeah. Yeah, lovely guy, great designer, great to work with, and he very kindly asked us to do a remix, and we agreed. So it was a lot of fun, really nice to do, and I guess we can play a bit. It's like I say, it's out at the end of the month, so yeah, if you want to play the first half of it or something.
First half, I'm on it. Let's go. Right, that's all you're getting, you fuckers. Keep an eye on Prospect pages. Critica forthcoming release. Go and grab it. Next up, track from Penta, The Charlie Lifestyle. Let's go.
Survive, you know. What are we talking about? How much?
I don't know, man. I was banging 7-gram rocks and finishing them because that's how I roll. 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 I have 1 speed, 1 gear. Go.
You love to party.
I mean, what's not to love?
How do
Especially when you see how I party, man. It was epic. The run I was on made Sinatra, Flynn, Jagger, Richards, all of them just look like, you know, droopy-eyed, armless children. Droopy-eyed, armless children. Droopy-eyed, armless children. Droopy-eyed, armless children. It was epic. I was banging 7-gram rocks and finishing them because that's how I roll. I have 1 speed, I have 1 gear. I have 1 speed, 1 gear. Go.
That's stuff from Penta. You should also check out the video that's knocking about of that on the internet. It's absolutely fucking hilarious. Loads of cool edits. And that's on Motormouth Records. Next up, and the final track in the What's Hot is an exclusive from the Ruckus, dropping tomorrow on Prospect. Let's go.
You know, when advice is in your face, you need to heed that. Word. Listen. You need to read that. That's right. You know, I put this little joint together real quick. You know what it's called? Now your life finished. Life over. Life over. Finished. Done. Life over. Finished. It's game time. Take me to all. Take me to all. Take me to all. Take me. Now you're fucked. On this one, man. You hear this beat, man? It's 270 right now. Understand? Let him have it. Now you're fucked.
That's a single from a forthcoming vinyl release coming on Prospects, and the single drops tomorrow on all networks. Thanks to Prospect for letting us play that. That's the end of
What's Hot?
What's hot?
What's Hot? Kabam! Oh shit, that's still playing. Wow, that was a quick run through of some bangers, right?
Yes.
Lots of good stuff out there. Nils, I can't hear you, buddy.
Oh.
Your microphone's run away. Is that enough?
There we go.
There we go.
Hey,
Yeah, that's on. All right, well, that brings us to the end of the show then, everybody. Any questions? We've got 10 minutes until midnight, so if there's any questions from the chat, we can take them. Go ahead,
have a
chat.
massive carb crash in a minute after all this.
I'm starving.
Yeah.
Shit, I've eaten so much food.
I'm really, really hungry. There's no questions. There's no questions.
No,
So we're going to Harmony of Hardcore this weekend. I'm going to see you there,
Yay.
Nils. Looking
see
forward
you
to
there,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I will miss you. I will not see you. I'm not going. Although Lizette's
And we-
playing, she's opening.
On our turn, we'll miss you.
Yeah, we will
Where you
miss you.
going?
Miss you more.
We're Steph's playing at Blackout on Friday in Utrecht. So
Yeah.
we are going over there and we're going to get mash up.
So he
on
chose
the-
Steph,
Friday.
basically, right?
But yeah, we chose Steph. Yeah, all sorts of trouble.
Why don't you come to Harmony on Saturday as well? That's a good idea,
I'm
right?
not going to be functioning on Saturday.
Oh, funny. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Harmony. Looking forward to it.
Steph's playing. I think Steph's playing at 6 a.m. So,
Oh,
great.
Yeah, that's lovely.
and then we're partying.
That's always great after a festival. To have a 6 in the morning gig after that. It's great. We've all done it.
Yeah.
Dude.
Ain't
Well, I
gonna watch
don't think there's any questions. Nobody's questioning things today.
No. Yeah. Okay.
No, I think we've been pretty clear about everything.
Yeah, we've covered it all. We've covered it all.
Yeah. Extensively. No more questions.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Jay's asked a question. Hold on, what was Jay's question? What? Oh, Ghost in the Machine back to back with the Silence when?
Oh. I have no idea actually. When?
I mean, you could
Back
you
to
could
back,
cut
you
that,
mean as-
you could cut that three-way a load of different ways, couldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You could have you could
have
have
a full night.
Mindustries versus the Outside Agency versus Ophidian.
Yeah. Then you have Ghost in the Machine. Then you have the Silence. Then you have ID.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Mm.
Oh yeah. You can do a full night.
Wow, you can just the three of you.
Yeah, it's just three of us. I have like a full lineup.
Yeah.
It could be the DEFCON 1 lineup for next year. Just have the stage, just fill the stage, just you through. Perfect. I'll go.
Oh, that sounds good. I'll do it.
Right, well, there's no questions, so I guess we'll just close. Nils, thank you so much again for coming on. You're one of my favourite guests every single time, and I'm sure you'll be back on again. It's always an
for sure,
absolute
man.
pleasure.
Likewise. It goes for both of you. So my favorite people right here.
Oh, babes.
Lovely things, yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing you on Saturday, brother. Party
Yeah,
hardy.
man.
Oh, I've got a cat standing on my
Let's
mic.
make a mess.
And Greg, I love you too, buddy.
And I'll see you at JeffCon. Nils, are you going?
I might actually, because
Friday night is
you're doing the Friday,
Manu,
right? It's Manu,
and Rabbit, and yeah.
That might be a really good one to do.
Has that been
Friday night.
announced, by the way? Or are you...
It is.
Okay.
Oh God. Things like that.
No, Friday.
Greg's
It's been announced.
Okay, great.
Anyway.
No, but that might be. I think Doma girls, and she's in Sweden. So if I get, yeah, let's get a sitter and
And it's my
go
extended
crazy.
birthday for the whole of June, so I'll be making an asshole out of
That's how that
myself at
works,
Jeff
huh?
Con again. It's
Yeah.
my favourite thing to do.
Go special.
Upset somebody. Yeah, fuck it.
Indeed. Yeah. It's gonna be this year. Roll your dice. Place
Yeah,
your
roll your
bets.
dice.
for
He's
a
going to
new
get
feud.
upset by wasted Joe that doesn't remember a fucking thing. It's
New
my
year, new feud.
birthday!
Yeah.
Oh,
have to
dear.
piss someone off.
Yeah,
For no
not on
reason at all.
purpose. No Joe clapping in the crowd since my bet. Oh, we need to do. Before we go, we need to do a thumbnail for the thumbnail. So give us a smile. There you go, Jay. There's your thumbnail, buddy. Right, job done. That's it. We're out of here. Oh, we've got something different to
Of course we
declare.
have.
Gregory,
It's
let's see if I can
bonkers.
fuck
I don't
this
even
up.
know what this. I don't even know what you call this. I know Wanda's gonna like it.
Is
That's
that
as much as I can tell you.
Are you going to say the
I'm
name
not
of
even-
it? Because I
like,
can't even
I
pronounce
can't
it.
pronounce it. No, I can't pronounce it. It's,
Hold on a minute.
I don't even want to say anything about it because it's just a whole great big ball of weird. So let's do it.
Right, let's do it. I'm going to paste what it is into the chat because I can't fucking say this either. So, I'm going to try and say it actually.
Perineum
yeah,
Zadalowski.
yeah, that'll do. Right.
Awesome.
See you later, motherfuckers. Thanks for tuning in. We love you. Mwah. Ciao.
Mwah.